And welcome everyone to another episode of Sharing with Shellshock. I'm your host, ShellshockPrime, and this is another episode right here. Um, we are going to be talking about conventions tonight, and joining us tonight are MantleFerox, who's been a part of the show multiple times. Welcome back.
Thank you. Wonderful to be back.
And we also have KevinTheTimeGeek, first time here on the show.
Hey guys, good to see you all.
It's good to have you both on. Originally, we had two other guests that were going to join us tonight. Unfortunately, Tia Angelic is under the weather, so she will not be making it tonight, and neither would Corshal Valet, who had some stuff that they had to take care of tonight. So, but in Corshal's case, they will be here in the next episode, which we'll talk about that at the end of the show. But tonight we're going to be talking about the world of conventions. We have so many conventions we've been a part of for so many years, and we have a bunch of experiences and stories that we like to talk about. But first things first, before we get started, Mantle, what type of content you do?
I am a variety streamer, mostly mixed between retro games, a few modern here and there where I feel like it. Primarily Nintendo, Sony, whenever I feel the chance. My community is the Sharkade because I'm a marine biologist, so I get to share the adventure of video games and the fun of science, especially about the ocean. Been kind of easing my way back into streaming because life has a way of lifing, as I'm sure we all know. But yeah, I do a lot of similar content to Shellshock, honestly, just with the retro sphere, because it's thanks to retro games is how I met Shellshock.
Yes.
And then that love of Nintendo, and just I try to I have that big energy, but I also try to have like the good cozy vibe stream, so like that perfect balance between the two.
Yeah.
So good cozy chill time. So that's the content I create, and it's one of those where, as we know, lurkers are the lifeblood of Twitch. So if you ever just want a good chill space with positive vibes to come through, come on through.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I just mostly just do like pre-recorded stuff on YouTube, whether it's a Let's Play or a First Impressions video here and there. And I've also occasionally guested on a few of my friends' podcasts. Like, there's this one podcast I've been on like at least 5 times now called School of Movies, where we talk about like movies and deep dives and stuff like that. It's really fun, hosted by my friends Alex and Sharon Shaw in England, and although one of my favorite shows I was ever on with them was when we dissected Batman the Animated Series, which was a lot of fun. So, you know, and we even did a show on Chrono Trigger, which was kind of cool too, just because he wanted to do my friend Alex wanted to do a deep dive on that. So,
Yeah.
and that's like one of my favorite games ever. So,
Oh, absolutely.
just little content here. And you can also just follow me on Blue Sky, and I'll just be snarking about the world.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. But yeah. So there's been so many different conventions that has been around for years and years, and we have our experiences. I remember seeing different, like, I remember seeing shows where there was an episode about like whatever characters like go into conventions. One of the biggest ones I remember was back in the day on Cartoon Network and Dexter's Laboratory. There was an episode where Dexter and his friends were going to go into like a Star Trek knockoff convention, but they accidentally went into a Barbie toy collecting convention.
NRFB!
I think I actually remember that episode too.
Yes.
That's funny how that works.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Like that's like one of the earliest times I can remember like they actually went to like a convention.
Yep.
And I would say that like either like they go to a convention, make fun of it, or like they go in and they just enjoy the ride, depending on what they do.
This is the line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, everyone has their own stories. Everyone has like their first convention, and that's what I'm gonna ask right now, starting with you, Mantle. What is your first convention?
My first convention is Animazement, and I went to Animazement 2004. I have been to every single Animazement since.
Nice. Kevin, what about you?
For me, I live in the state of Michigan, and I first went to a local Comic-Con we have here called Motor City Comic-Con back in 2013, and I actually met a few good people there. Like I met Colin Baker, the 6th Doctor Who, And I also met Lou Ferrigno there. He was really nice. And I was just intimidated by the fact he was still in amazing shape, even though he's like 60 something at the time.
Yeah.
If we're talking about
And
first
also
cons,
he was really tan too, so I looked really pasty compared to him. But he couldn't have been sweeter. So,
Oh, yeah.
and he was very touched when I told him he was my childhood version of the Hulk. So,
Mhm.
if we're talking about
'cause
first
I watched
cons,
reruns of the Incredible Hulk TV show back when the Sci-Fi Channel was actually good.
oh, I missed those days.
Oh, yeah.
You adding all that about the first con though reminds me. I'll share a little bit more about mine. So, Animazement
go ahead.
used to take place in Durham, North Carolina. Because I know I don't sound it, but I'm from North Carolina, and I went to school in the Triangle, so not too far from there. So my first 5 Animazements, I either was at a dorm or an apartment, or stayed with a friend. But yeah, we were in Durham for 5 years, and we outgrew that convention center. We're in Raleigh now, and we're the first non-government function to take place at the newer Raleigh Convention Center. That was in 2009. But yeah, so Animazement has always been known, aside from just like a really nice, positive, wholesome vibe, but also we get some incredible Japanese guests. And God, I'm blanking on his name, but we had like the voice of Sailor Star Healer there. We had Kogoro Mori's voice actor there. And opening ceremonies, they sang. The Japanese voice actors sang and gave us a concert. It was ridiculous. I've never seen this.
awesome.
I can never go to another opening ceremony because it pales
It's
in
underwhelming.
comparison. Yeah. And I feel terrible blanking on the seiyu's names right now, but we got to have like a song from Anpanman sung by her because she has Tendan, like Tendan.
Nice.
And the first Detective Conan theme sung by the original, and it's just, what is my life? And that was my first con, and it was smaller at the time, but getting to meet those amazing Japanese guests and be pulled into everything. And again, this was 2004, so we're in that naughties hype.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah.
makes sense. Whew.
So for me, so my first convention, I can't really count this one because it was just passing by, but I don't even know if it actually was one. But there was like this comic convention that took place back in it was like in 1997. Like my parents, who were separated at the time, my dad just wanted to take us out. And there was a mall, they had like comic convention there, but it was a free entrance for kids. So we got to go. And I think parents of kids got to go in for free. It was like for one day only. And I got a couple of comic books back then. It was some really cool stuff. Comic books, trading cards. But the first convention that I remember actually going to, it was in Ohio back in 2006. It was called Origins.
I've heard of that one, yeah.
And the only reason I even went to that convention in the first place is because around that same time was the Pokemon TCG National Championships, because they had it and right together, like they were linked up. That once you were an attendee for National Championships, you also got a free pass for Origins. And I got to go with some cool stuff. Granted, I spent more time and doing for the Pokemon stuff, but it was nice just to be a part of a convention.
For sure, absolutely.
But yeah, that was like in 2006. I was already like out of college, like for over, like I just started college like a year ago, like in 2005. And afterwards, my brother was still in high school. So the thing is that my brother and I each got free passes because since he played the card game, and I basically got free travel because I was a legal guardian at the time due to the fact that my mom didn't want to go. And I went because I was over 18 and he was like underage, so I had to take him. But then but after that, like he turned 18, so he ended up not needing like the guardianship, although I still went for a few more years before I stopped the card game. But yeah. So Origins, there was some cool stuff there. Didn't get to explore it as much because I focused more on Pokemon, but it was nice. It was cool.
So also, Shellshock, I knew as soon as you started speaking, I would remember the voice actor's names. So I'd be remiss if I didn't say them. So it was Akira Kamiya and Chika Sakamoto. So like two very prolific voice actors. I got to see it that first one, and I had found out about Animazement because I'd started college in 2003. I was in the anime club at my university, and they were basically trying to get a whole big group pass in there. So I'm like, yeah, what's the con? And like, I kind of knew vicariously of it, but they just keep talking about it. It's like I think I had this vague idea, and then I get there, I'm like, I love this.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, so now the next question that I want to ask, and we'll start with Kevin for this one.
Okay.
What is your usual itinerary for when you plan a convention? And the follow up to that is, do you prefer to go to a convention by yourself or with other people?
Okay. Well, for the first half, basically, I try to get there pretty close to opening time, and just to get there as early as I can, so I can get there and get the lay of the land and all that. And as for just what I want to do once I get in the building, it's just a spontaneous thing, really. More, I just kind of sometimes I make a beeline for certain autograph booths of certain celebrities are there, or in some cases I'll just check out the merch things. It all depends, really. It all depends on what is closest I see that's closest to the entrance that I enter, where I step onto the floor, as it were.
Yeah.
And then sorry, trying to remember what the other half was.
The other half is, do you prefer to go by yourself or with a group of people?
I mean, I've done both. I've gone to conventions by myself, and I've gone with groups of friends. I mean, I kind of prefer it when I go with groups of friends, but I also don't have an issue if I end up going by myself, because I know that I will feel safe around all these other people, because we're all geeks, enjoying the atmosphere of everything, and we're all here for just different geeky things that we enjoy. So
Yeah.
every now and then I just get stopped and like, hey, can I get a picture? I love your outfit. And I'm like, oh yeah, sure. So, that's always humbling to have happen. Like, like last year when I was wearing this outfit, which is my blue 10th Doctor suit, someone was like, I don't see people do the blue suit with the 10th Doctor. Can I get a picture of you? And I'm like, yeah, sure. Of course, I was wearing a different shirt and tie, but still, it was unmistakably the 10th Doctor. So, and they really wanted a picture. So I was more than happy to oblige. So.
Yeah. What about you, Mantle?
I'll go ahead and answer the second part first. I massively prefer going with friends. I have been to several conventions by myself. For one reason or another, I will go to more conventions by myself. But I massively prefer going with friends. Like, I actually just was at a convention this weekend. Like, I left it early to be here for this podcast today. Like, not too early because, Sunday last day and all that. But like, for example, this weekend I was in a room by myself because I was a last minute like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going back finally. And then and that's part of why Sins is extra on me, because I've only been back home for just over 2 hours. But the like, I had several friends who were going to it, but I was in a room by myself. So I wasn't by myself this weekend. I was just rooming by myself. But four of my friends were staff. So I was only going to be able to catch them for so long. And then I made new friends with it, which we'll get into that later. But no, I can go by myself and I'll make a good time of it. And even though I'm extremely outgoing, I'm actually an introvert. So, but I've been told, it's a joke with me at cons, is that I can make friends with anyone in line. You put me there with him long enough, I will. Because, like Kevin mentioned, we're all geeks. We're around kindred spirits. And we're going to enjoy it. Like even yesterday, I'm at a crowded convention area. I'm fine. We go across the street to a restaurant, and there's a whole bunch of normies there, and I'm getting annoyed with them. Like, not in the bad way, but so they're both different vibes. But I love going with a group of friends. And the best thing with a group of friends, I want to go ahead and caveat that with, is get yourself a group of friends who, yes, you're going to do some things together, but you don't have to do everything together. Like the crew I was with.
I agree with that.
Yeah. Like there's several of us, yesterday with the crew I was hanging out with, like we were all together for a good while. And then it starts, hey, what are you looking to do next? Oh yeah, you were going to do this, then we're going to do this. And we just all split. we keep chatting online, but then would like catch up later and everything. And it's wholesome to be able to, yes, you can hang out the whole weekend. You don't have to hang out the whole weekend. That was also a hard lesson for me to learn, a quick tangent, because I lived further away from my friends from over a decade. So I would have these extra reserves and want to hang out more, but I have to realize we can't make an exception for that. But again, love to go with friends. And then you're able to do that kind of that balance between your own thing as well as group things and jump in between. And as far as itinerary going, it kind of depends on the con. Sometimes I'll just be like, yep, I'm going to this con, and I don't decide anything until I walk in the door, and then I just take it as it comes.
Yep.
Like there's a dinky little Comic Con I'm going to go to in 2 months, and I say dinky because it really is. And the biggest reason I go to it is because it's 2 miles from my townhouse. It's right there.
Yeah.
I will, unless if there's like
the local.
Yeah, unless if there's a voice actor or something I really want to do or see, I just go, walk around for a bit, vibe with friends, then I'm done.
Yep.
Other cons, I will get really into figuring out, okay, I want to go see this, want to do this, want to do that. But it's usually some balance between a rough preview of what I want to do and take it as it comes. I also staff for a couple of conventions, so the planning for that gets more intense. Like case in point with MagFest, I am part of the cosplay department, specifically photo shoots. So we have to meet several times before the con to figure out what our shifts are. So there's that. And then I basically come to the con with, okay, this is when I'm on shift. This is my free time. This is when I'll probably go to the vendor's hall. This is when I'll do that. But I tend to bounce around between just general friend hangout time, marketplace, events if I want to go to them. And depending on the con and who's there, especially the older group, we actually just take some time to vibe in the room together. And some people might think, why are you at a convention if you're going to sit in the hotel room with friends? Because first off, we don't get to see these friends all the time. And secondly, it's a different type of feeling getting to hang out with friends in a hotel room at a convention than without it. And like, if you've been in a hotel room at a con, you understand what I mean.
Yeah.
So for me, it really depends on the event, but it's usually, again, any balance between flying by the seat of my pants, figuring out as it goes along to, I have planned this down to basically the letter with open windows of, here it goes. Like, I'll even, on some schedules, I'll put certain things of like, oh, this is an interesting panel, like a Dragon Con. Like, I'll put down a whole bunch of panels. I might not go to a one, but I have it on my schedule in case if I have an open slot and I'm not doing anything else.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's something I really want to go to, I make sure that happens. So really just, yeah, from my own experience with that, it's a balance, depends on a whole lot of factors. And for anyone who, with your own cons, I'd say strike your own balance. And remember, you don't have to fill every minute with everything. And for anyone who's newer to conventions, do not overload yourself, because then you won't have fun.
100%. I agree with that.
Couldn't agree more.
Yep.
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
As someone who can get easily overstimulated, couldn't agree more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. So, in terms of itinerary, I just take a look at the schedule to see if there's anything that I know I want to do more than anything else. Like, usually, like, depending on what type of convention it is. So, let's say, for example, it is a convention where it's like a retro game convention, and I'm deciding to buy retro games, and I decide to look around first to see if there's anything that I would like to get. What I'm looking for, I check the prices. Then before I make my decision on buying it, I want to check the other booths to see if I find the same game but for a better price. That's a couple bucks off, and then also check the condition at the same time to make sure that if it's factory sealed, that's one thing. But if it's not, if it's loose and open, I gotta make sure that it's in good condition. So I would purchase it. That's usually like the first part of the itinerary, depending on if it's a retro game convention. Like, for example, the one I go to is Long Island Retro, where I tend to get like a bunch of retro games there. But other things I usually like to do is to check out, like, for if there's tournaments that I would like to participate in, panels, and what time the panels are like taking place, so I could just put them down on a schedule, and I'm like, okay, so I know that this time is where like a panel that I'm going to go to is going to take place, and such, and then I have time to do other things, like I could hang out with friends, I can get food and whatnot. I always make sure to have a good itinerary on everything that I would like to do, all planned out. But sometimes I don't have a plan. I just go along with the ride, just go with the flow and see what happens.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
it just depends on the convention and the vibes. And for the second part of the question, which is like, do I prefer to go to a convention by myself or with other people? I don't mind going by myself, but I prefer to go with other people. I usually like to, but there are times in which that I start off going by myself, but I meet with the intention of meeting people at the convention at a certain location that we all agree on. We meet there, and then we just move on and see what we do. Other times, I just start off by going with other people, like let's say taking a train, taking a bus, or in some cases, flying. Car as well. And with car, like we make sure that like we split the gas prices. Otherwise, there's going to be some conventions in which that you probably might be ordering like Uber or Lyft if you don't have a car and you don't know anyone who has a car within the group. But I try to do what I can to make sure to get as much out of it as possible because it can get overstimulating. But at the same time, I also just, there are times where like it takes a while for me personally to get overstimulated. Because I'm just way into the vibes, and then like it takes like maybe like a couple hours just for me to get to the overstimulation point. But when it gets there, that's when I just take a break and just like get food or like get some fresh air and all that stuff. And as always, you gotta stay hydrated. Just get water. Don't buy food at the convention. It's too expensive.
Unless if you desperately need to eat, and that's your best option.
Exactly.
If it is a matter of saving money or saving yourself, fuck your wallet.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was one time when I was going to my local Comic-Con. And I was going to be arriving at the time that the con was opening its doors and everything. And I made a point of eating a very big breakfast that would carry me through my time there. And I was desperate enough. I started feeling really thirsty at one point, and I made the mistake of not having a water bottle. So I basically went to a food booth and basically got a slushie to just kind of help slake my thirst a bit.
Yeah.
I'm going to go on ahead and bring up something that I'm sure many of us here have at least heard about. And again, a lot of this stuff, as with many times on Shellshock's channel, stuff you guys know, but we're going to bring it up anyways because it's worth discussing, it's worth having on record, and we're not going to assume everyone knows it. Who knows the 6-2-1 rule? 6 hours of sleep, minimum of 2 meals, and a shower a day.
Yes.
Yep.
I admit I cannot always do the 6 hours because the way my brain works.
I abide by it. Yeah.
Yep.
I wasn't really familiar with the rule, but I tend to abide by that. So.
But yeah, like, but I totally understand your point on like if you really need to get the food, then get at the convention. I totally understand that.
Yeah. And I'll agree. Like more and more cons, let's face it, they have options outside and around them. Like my home con Animazement, sometimes they have a couple food trucks in the convention center, regardless of the convention center food. They've also there's also several restaurants within easy walking distance of the con. And they've started closing down the street right next to it and just have a whole bunch of food trucks come up. So you got options. Just research it. And if you're in a hotel room, for the love of the universe, at least pack some snacks. You don't have to pack full meals, but one of the simplest things you can do is get you a loaf of bread and some sandwich meat and just have emergencies. That actually helped me one time because a ramen place that used to be amazing changed itself and went downhill. They're out of business, by the way, so karma's delicious.
Oof.
Literally.
Oh, they fell so hard. I went on Google and changed my 5-star review to a 1-star with a full note of why. And I had got a Katsudon that they fucked up 3 times. I should have sent it back after the second one and refused to pay. The bologna sandwich I rage ate in the room was tastier.
Wow.
So, yeah, no, I was mad.
That's very telling.
And another note with that is obviously if it's an event that you're used to going to, try to stay on top of if there's any changes with restaurants, because unfortunately there are those. Not everything's going to be around forever. Like the Gaylord, where MagFest and Katsucon both happen. National Harbor got hit hard during COVID, so like half the places are not there anymore. There's some new good ones, but there's a couple haunts that I kind of miss. But you always just stay on top of it, figure it out, make sure you eat, and please, for the love of the universe, hydrate.
100%. You got to stay hydrated.
I was just hydrating now.
But the other thing I will say is this. Like when it comes to conventions, I also tend to like bring like small snacks and bring drinks with me. So so I have everything prepared. Plus again, like in addition to staying hydrated, like I unfortunately had an experience where there was a convention where I unfortunately got sick. But I'm gonna go more on in detail because there's a community question on that I'll go on detail later. But yeah, and if you feel like you're gonna get sick, wear a mask. Wear a mask.
There you go. Found advice.
And also still take I mean, I know that is a question. I'll just go ahead and say, yeah, bring masks with you. Sometimes they do also stock masks. I will be fully honest. I don't always mask as much as I should, but I always have some with me, and I'm always ready for it. And especially if I'm with a group who I know needs it more, I'll have it on more. I don't do it as much as I probably should, but
Likewise.
I still make an effort. I still make an effort.
Yes.
Same.
Yep. All right. So the next one, Mantle.
Yes.
I already know your answer to this, but I'm gonna ask it just for the sake of the podcast. But have you ever volunteered at a convention?
Why, yes, I have. I have worked and volunteered at several, and there's many more that I don't staff or volunteer at, where I basically am the attendee who helps my friends who are on staff when they can't freely go somewhere.
Yep.
Yeah. I've never volunteered at a convention. I feel like I'd be too nervous to do it, frankly.
Yeah. I've volunteered at 2 conventions, and both of them are of the same type of convention. And it's not gaming conventions, but you'll never guess as to which ones. So, the New York City PonyCon, like back when like My Little Pony Friendship is Magic was a thing. I staffed in 2016, 2017. 2016, I just did volunteer work. In 2017, I did the game room because the person that was supposed to do the game room, they had a falling out with him because of the fact that he was very demanding and very unprofessional. And as a result, I replaced him. And then afterwards, then like, it got to the point where like, which I didn't mind replacing him, but at the same time, it was just out of nowhere that they like just wanted me to do that. But I'm like, okay, I'll take it, and I did. And this was back in 2017. This was like in late January that year, and it was like the last time that I actually brought my Wii U to anything. And I also borrowed like my friend Elvis's Wii U as well, so I could have 2 Wii U's to set up for the game room. Which I'm like, man, this will be the last time I get to do this, because once the Switch comes out, that's gonna make everything like even better and easier, which it does, because the Switch does make everything easier. And
definitely,
and the game room was a hit. Like we had the Wii U set up, we had a couple of Raspberry Pis, people play like games on that and other stuff, and I think somebody set up a DDR machine, like a fake DDR machine and stuff like that. But it was a great time. And
sure.
Those were the only times I've ever volunteered at a convention. Although I would actually like to volunteer future conventions. I would like to be an enforcer for PAX East. And I also like to volunteer for Long Island Retro and other conventions. But yeah, I haven't had that much experience with like volunteering at conventions, just only a little bit.
Yeah. I'll expand on mine a little bit. So my first experience, I've guessed it at cons as well, like it's a couple smaller ones. But my first real-time staffing, I got drafted for an older con that unfortunately no longer exists. They're trying to bring it back under something else. It just needs to die. It was Anime Mid-Atlantic, which is actually where I met many of my friends in the Mid-Atlantic area, which is where I live now. And Anime Mid-Atlantic, I got pulled on staff because basically all my friends there became staff, and I was pretty much helping out with cosplay chess. My main one though, because for MagFest, they're not taking on new volunteers to become staff because we have enough right now. But I am part of the cosplay department for MagFest, like I mentioned, specifically for photo shoots, because we're split up. We're all cosplay with our department head, and then we've got cosplay contest, prop check and security, cosplay repair, and then photo shoots. And we're taking on Idol Showcase, which is somewhere between photo shoots and contest. But so for that one, my manager and assistant manager, like the two of them fought hard. Like they fucking like pulled a case for me, like, no, we want Mantle. And I got pulled on, volunteered, and apparently knocked it out the park so hard I was instantly staff. And I've officially, so I volunteered for 1 year, staff for 2 years, and I was helping. It was a lot of the stuff I was doing anyways. Now I'm just more official for it along with that. And then for 3 years I've staffed MagFest. Now it's 2 years I've staffed Katsucon, because I got pulled in with that because one of my friends had off and on staffed it. She was looking to transfer departments to help out with Idol Showcase. And our mutual friend was asking, hey, would you like to help too? Well, sure. Well, but only if I can be in the same department as her. She's since wound up not being able to be at Cats the past couple, but now I'm part of the cosplay department at Katsucon, helping out with the behind-the-scenes stuff for the Idol Showcase and the Masquerade. So, so it's stuff that I'm already like familiar with and I'm happy to help with. So, but even at the cons where I don't staff, I've been around the block enough times and have enough friends who are on staff that I usually wind up helping, even if it's not in an official capacity.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Awesome. All right. So next thing I want to ask is, have you ever been in a panel at any convention? Like whether if you hosted or joined? Never?
Never. I'm not famous enough.
Mantle?
I'd probably, and even if it was just a panel on my own, I'd probably be scared shitless.
Yeah.
Like, what am I going to do? So,
That's all good. Mantle?
Yes, I have been on panels. I'm actually working on getting a panel submission for Animazement right now. I've been on several panels, honestly. None that I've submitted myself yet, but my friends are always like, no, Mantle, we need you on this panel. One of the first ones wasn't really a panel, but it was a whole performance. So my anime club in college, for 3 years at the old location for Animazement, we actually put on a musical. Like basically its own different time slot outside Masquerade. We put on a musical. The first 2 years I couldn't participate in it outside of helping behind the scenes because of I was in pet band for travel band. By my senior year, schedule lined up that I was able to actually be part of it, and I wound up being one of the 5 leads. So the first one was Evangelion the musical. The second one was So You Want to Run an Anime Con, which was basically about a college club that utterly flopped running an anime con. And then the one I was in, Jet, or How I Learned to Stop Worrying and Love the Con Show. Basically about the Jet program. Yes, it was a wonderful musical. I wish I could. I have the footage of my dad's old camcorder. Unfortunately, the battery died right before it could finish up. I need to find and upload that. But it was a wonderful, wonderful musical. We were typecast to hell and back, so it was funny. Quick aside on that, so we had the 4 other main characters. So we had the hero who was like, Japan's where the video games and Pocky come from, right? Hilariously enough, she was played by a former friend of mine, which I'm brand.
Wow.
Then we had the straight man who was just the foil, yes, I'm the ideal Jet candidate. Then one of my best friends from high school, he was the Ota King. So basically your stereotypical otaku, which he was an otaku, but just not that one. And then my friend was Culture-san, who, I'm prim and proper, old-style kimono and umbrellas and everything, and I don't realize that Japan has been infiltrated by pop culture and Hello Kitty. And then in the script, I was listed as Nihongo-san, and I had completely aced all my Japanese classes and got into the JET program, possibly due to the reason that I only spoke Japanese. It is revealed at the end of the musical, I can't speak English. Um, so I'm intermediate in Japanese, and I know more now than I did then, but my lines were a combination between like perfect textbook Japanese, just quoting anime, and grammatically correct, but batshit random stuff like the baggage is an explosion. And that was just fun and great. So another big thing I got pulled into for stuff. So, well, the next thing I got pulled into for a panel wise was I've been part of a couple cosplay makeup panels. So, since I do a lot of cosplay and full body makeup, one of my friends had pulled me on for her panel, and we were basically doing tutorials on like, hey, here's some different details and styles you can use. Here's different brands. Here's different techniques, different methods, and that was a lot of fun. And then between a few different Mid-Atlantic conventions, including Katsucon, I was part of Fueled by Coffee. We are on indefinite hiatus, and we were famous for the Phoenix Wright mock trials. So we basically would write, perform an entire thing of mock trial Phoenix Wright plus whatever other characters. And I have been defendants in this. Like I was Bolin in a Legend of Korra trial. I was Luna for a Sailor Moon trial. I was Goku for the Dragon Ball Z trial. And outside of that, I'm also Dick Gumshoe, pal, here to help you out on the case.
Nice.
I've been writing a script for If We Return with the understanding that we might not. And that's fine. It was a great time. And if it never happens again, people loved it. It was great. Another panel that I've been on a couple times is From Source Material to Adaptation, where we would basically talk about like taking what the actual source material is, like whether it's a manga or a light novel, and how you translate that to the adaptation, like the anime or a video game or something. And another one is cultural differences and such, where you're able to explain like kind of like, hey, we understand what it is in the original. Why did they have to change some things here? And that can be anything from the older, like overly safe nonsense of the 90s to let's change this one line to make it more open acceptable. That also like had a lot of stuff about light novels in it. So like just like some examples I'll just do is like if you're more into it, you might understand a piece of something, but if you're making it open to a wider audience in the dub, you can't always just do a 1-to-1 translation. No matter how nice that would be. It would be like if Pokemon kept all the Japanese names for the Pokemon. That'd be great, but no one would have the same connection as anyone does.
Agreed.
So just one real quick example from that. My favorite anime of all time is Zombieland Saga. I'm wearing a flippin' shirt from it. It was cosplayed it all weekend. There is one episode where Sakura, Saki, and Junko have snuck into an onsen, and they're enjoying it. It's great. And since Sakura has like a wide forehead, she's really cute. Saki teasingly calls her Egghead, and she basically goes, "Man, on second thought, your egghead looks rotten." In the dub. Sorry, I just did it backwards. She says, so in the original, she said, your egghead looks like a century egg. And I'll ask people in the panels like, hey, raise your hands, no judgment. Do any of you know what a century egg is? I'm lucky if I can get 40% of people to raise their hands. Most people don't know what a century egg is over here.
I don't even know.
Exactly. So we just proved my point, and that's fine. No judgment. It's basically an egg which has been fermented with a salt ash lye, and just it looks green. It is a Chinese delicacy. I've not had one. I've heard that it's an acquired taste. So
sounds delicious.
You have the accurate translation, but not everyone's going to understand it. So if you watch it sub, you get that. And then the dub, she goes, on second thought, your egghead looks rotten. And then I ask the audience what that comes about, and you're like, oh yeah, no. And so it's not a 1-to-1 translation, but the feeling is the same. But not before I get too far on that tangent. And another one I've been on is I don't play Final Fantasy XIV, but I am a marine biologist, and one of my good friends, Fruity Snacks, is one of the curators for the Eorzean Museum Network, and he and I have befriended with this. So for those who don't know, in Final Fantasy XIV, you can buy a house, if you're lucky, and you can decorate however you want, and people have linked up their houses and basically made aquariums, and it's really flipping cool, and because of all the really neat, fantastic fish they have in this game, they obviously have inspiration from real life. So he put this panel idea together of like, hey, here's what these fish are here. What do we have like that in real life? So he was able to give the in-game descriptions and some of the real life ones, and he had me on board as the marine biologist. So that was a really fun one. We did that at Dragon Con this past year. Yeah, and there's a couple other ones I've helped out with, like some workshops for my friends, but anything else as panels I have not made yet. But I know that's a question for later.
Yeah. Yep.
Sorry that rambled a bit, but I figured just wanted to
That's
give more
all right.
context for that one.
Yep.
I understand.
Yeah. So I have been a part of panels in multiple conventions in the past. The first panel I've ever done was joining a Pokemon panel back in 2014 at PAX East. That was actually my first PAX. We were talking about like competitive Pokemon, and I thought I did a good job. Like as we talked about like best ways to get into battling, training, like and everything. Especially if you want to be like a competitive player going to tournaments like the VGC tournaments. At the time, like the latest games were Pokemon X and Y on the 3DS. So I thought it was a lot of fun just talking about that. Then I want to say it was 2 years later. We did a similar panel at PAX East, but we talked about amiibos and Street Pass. This was in 2016. We talked about like Street Pass and amiibo. Because at the time, because like my friend Rydia, she goes to like PAX East a lot because she's in Boston, and she has me a part of these panels. We talked about like all things 3DS and everything, and when we did like who in the room had the most amount of Street Passes, and there was one person like that's not part of the panelists. It ended up being Chugga Conroy, who was watching the panel, and he actually had the most Street Passes at the time because he always brings his 3DS with him to all these conventions.
Chugga's awesome. I'd love to meet him someday.
And he had the most. Then what I remember was a couple months later, I went to this very small like pop culture convention that's in Long Island called Eternal Con, and we decided to do something different. We hosted a panel, except it was just a game show. It was our first Nintendo feud, and it was I believe it was Mario versus Wario, and Team Mario won, and it was fun.
Nice.
Yeah, it was fun. Like it was a game show panel. After that, we started doing more game show panels. We brought it to PAX. They also done it at multiple conventions. And I actually managed to get one in New York Comic Con in 2018, which was the Nintendo feud, Pikachu versus Eevee, which New York Comic Con kept rejecting our panels for years, but then that year in 2018, they finally accepted it.
Yay!
And
wore them down.
And because they were doing like a their own anime thing they were doing, which sucked, by the way. But when we went, because the reason why they wanted us to do that panel is because we were getting Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Let's Go Eevee at the time, like they were coming out, so it was great timing. So we did it. It was fun. We got to do Team Pikachu versus Team Eevee. And we would do different conventions for years, like as doing panels. Then afterwards, like I've have since hosted my very own panel that I started from scratch with 4 other people. And it was a lot of fun. So I had Silverstone Condor, I had Rick from the D-Pad, Azran 127, and 112 as we did the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch send-off at PAX East last year. That was amazing.
Nice.
So we all got together to do this panel. I actually didn't think this panel was going to happen. Mm-hmm. And because they put me on a wait list. But then they ended up like just calling me, not calling me, like sending me a email. I was at a Taco Bell on a random Friday afternoon because I was just wanting to get something to eat, and they just so happened to message me while I was at Taco Bell. I'm like, wow. And they said, oh, you guys got accepted. And it was like, oh shit, we got accepted. Oh, we just got to start planning fast. And we did. Great times. But,
Nice.
but now we got a couple of panels lined up, which looking forward to it. So yeah, multiple years of experience doing these panels.
Yep. And similar to you, there's been some times where I wasn't part of the panel, but because the panelists knew me, I've been pulled up to help out. Like 2 years ago at DragonCon, Melodic Blue, another really good friend of mine, thanks to her is how I met Fruity Snacks. The two of them were running the panel, and it was great and awesome. And they realized that one of the questions from the attendees was just out of their realm, and Melodic just leans in, Mantle, would you like to come up and help answer that? And so I'm like, if you're sure.
You got drafted.
Yeah, and then not panels, but I also, just because it's part of it, I also coordinate several photo shoots. I actually kind of fell into it. Well, one's because I would attend photo shoots anyways, and then there's several photo shoots at Otakon and even Katsucon and MagFest one year where just the organizer just didn't show. So I would just take charge and go on ahead and do that. And then, so yeah, staff photo shoots at MagFest, but I also coordinate several of them. And then there's some who, like, even if the organizer doesn't show, I'll help out with running it or I'll do it for them. But I primarily coordinate and run the Nintendo and Splatoon ones, and also do Nintendo at DragonCon.
Yeah, I deliberately tell people, like anyone that's hosting a panel and that wants to include me, I deliberately tell them that, like, unless something's going on, I will be there. But there are
Absolutely.
But if I know for a fact I can't go, I tell them right in advance that I cannot make it.
For sure.
But there have been times there have been panels where I wasn't directly like a part of the panel. I do what I can to help out, like with bringing stuff as well as taking a camera and recording the panel. I do what I can, and when we run out of time, I just ask people to go outside and then meet us outside so that we can continue on with our Q&A.
Yes.
That way, like, we at least give some people time to answer some questions, because that's the thing. Usually panels take about an hour. Sometimes some conventions would be 2 hours, but most of them are an hour.
From what I've seen, it depends on the panel, as well as it depends on other factors with that. Like, I know photo shoots is a different case from that, but the way we do them at MagFest is we offer the photo shoots in slots of 30, 60, or 90 minutes. So like Nintendo's an hour and a half. Splatoon, we're an hour, because like we don't always fill up the hour, but we're always closer to an hour than we are 30 minutes.
Yeah,
So.
Stands to reason.
Exactly. Like I was asked to help out for a cosplay photo shoot for PAX East, but one of the panels that I'm going to be a part of takes place at the exact same time, so I had to decline.
Yeah, no, I've had that happen too. And actually, that's part of how I wound up leading that cosplay makeup panel I mentioned, because one of my good friends who I met thanks to cosplay, it was her panel, and she was going to have me and another one of our friends on it. But she was staffing this con. This con was not. It's not the worst I've ever been to, but it was a mess. They were like, oh, because it was kind of a steampunk con, and I'd only gone to hang out with friends. They were insistent that all the staff were these characters and had to be at opening ceremonies for this skit and everything. And I'm sitting there like, no one cares.
Exactly.
She was required to be there, and they purposely scheduled her panel at the same time as that. And they kept going this whole back and forth of like, oh, your panel, no, we need you. Oh, your panel, no, we need you. So the chainmail chick and I both ran it, and we missed her, but panel still went great.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Let's see. All right, so here's a big one.
Oh, yes.
I want to start with Kevin on this.
Okay.
What are some of your fondest convention stories?
Well, I have two big ones for me. This one was not at Motor City Comic Con, but it was at a place called the Great Philadelphia Comic Con, and I got to meet Kevin Conroy, voice of Batman in Batman the Animated Series.
Oh, nice.
Guy, I had like one of my DVDs of the show for him to sign, because it would mean the world to me for having to sign it, right? And as he's about to sign it, he said, "Okay, who do I make it out to?" And I said rather tentatively, "Well, I'm also a Kevin, sir." Just feeling like, because I was feeling like a kid just being around
That's
him.
adorable.
And he looks at me and he gives me the warmest smirk on his face, and he's like, "I got you." And he looks down and goes and signs it. Wonderful guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then the other one was just a couple years ago at my local Comic-Con, Motor City Comic-Con. I saw someone name drop it in the chat, so good that you've been there. But anyway, and Charles Martinet was there. Wonderful.
Yep. He's so
in fact,
great.
he was his booth was the first one I went to when I arrived that morning, because I knew that if I waited, his panel sorry, I'm getting a little flustered. His
Good.
booth would have been swamped, and I wouldn't have been able to get a chance to do anything. So so I made a beeline for his booth to say hi and stuff. And I told him how much I'm an uncle to a young boy, and told him how I'm trying to get my nephew into Mario and stuff. And he's like, "Oh, that's wonderful," and stuff. And I showed him a picture then on my phone that my sister-in-law texted for me of him and my nephew and his Mario jammies. He's like, "See, he's even got the jammies and everything." And he's like, "That's wonderful. You're a superstar uncle." And he even signed my Switch copy of Super Mario 3D All Stars with Superstar at the top.
Love
And
that.
everything. And it's just,
Awesome.
I couldn't have been happier about that. And so I'm not selling this for anything, by the way. This is mine. But yeah, Charles, I was on cloud 9 getting to meet, and I also got to meet Christopher Lloyd at that same convention. So that
Very
was another
cool, man.
great experience.
Great Scott.
Yep. Great Scott, buddy.
1.21 gigawatts.
Yeah, 1.21 gigawatts. Yeah. He was a very nice guy, and they even had the DeLorean there and everything. Unfortunately, I didn't get my picture taken in it, even though I wanted to, but they told me I was a little too tall for it. So
always a bummer.
Oh yeah,
I'm 6'1", but they consider that too tall apparently.
I'm 6 foot. And,
Safety.
Yeah, it happens.
Yep.
Mantle, what about you?
I've had a lot of great experiences meeting people that I've admired since I was like yay high.
Yeah. yeah, same. What about you, Mantle?
Too many to count. And that's also what's a flipping time to ask, because like I said, I just came from a con this weekend, and it's one of the most magical cons I've ever been to. I've been smiling like a goof since like 10 o'clock yesterday morning because of this. So, just a very general one has been just meeting so many of my closest friends. Like, as an adult, the majority of my friends I've made have been thanks to conventions and or the internet. And several of these people have been my closest friends for like coming up on 20 years now. I mean, 13 on the short end for some of those. And I don't know where I would be without them. It was actually thanks to meeting a bunch of this crew was why I knew that in marine biology, where you can't choose where you go necessarily, I knew I wanted to end up in the mid-Atlantic, and I'm finally here. So and that's part of why, I actually get, so a very slight note, I actually get emotional leaving cons, because I lived further away from my friends, and it's not just the PCD, the post-con drop. With that, it was more of just I was leaving my family. I was leaving my family and my event and going back to everything. And even if I enjoyed my job, it wasn't where I wanted to be. Here, even whenever I'm leaving, even Dragon Con, which is my furthest one right now, I'm not sad because I'm going home, because my friends are still here. But that aside, so just genuinely getting to meet some of my closest friends. I actually was back in Japan back in November. The friend who I was hanging out with there, her and her husband, I met her thanks to conventions. She and I have been friends. We'll have known each other for a decade this year. And we met thanks to Splatoon, because I was cosplaying my Inkling Mantle and she was cosplaying Marie. And still one of my closest friends to this day.
Off the
hook. Catch you later. But no, the just getting to meet any of them, the number's too bloody high. And then with those friends and making those cosplay plans, and then some of our outfits and stuff that we've all done. And I've done a lot of cosplay. Many of you might remember I was on Shellshock's previous season one about cosplay. Loved that episode. That's actually how I met Tina and Angelic. We know each other in passing, but that's how I really connected. And it's oh, wait. And then the friendship just jumped up here. She's amazing. That's
up to 11.
Damn right. 11s, those are rookie numbers. Now this is more like 24. But the
I was trying to make a Spinal Tap reference, and also the
You're-
fact my nephew turned 11 this year. So
well, don't worry, there's no regrets. But with that, like, even comes like just some of the genuine chaos and fun we've had with those outfits and stuff. So like that one of those friends I met at Animes in 2008, she's one of my main cosplay buddies, and we do a lot of like partner in crime stuff. And my favorite one, how we met, I was cosplaying Wolf Link from Legend of Zelda Twilight Princess, and she was Midna in her Twilight form. And years later, I completely remade Wolf Link. The only thing I reused was the fan from the head, and she made Imp Midna. And we're at a Zelda photo shoot where we've debuted this, and it's fun. People are loving the costumes. It's a great time. And there's this really badass Demise cosplayer. And so I'm in my first suit. It's a semi-quad. Then I get up, and because the Demise was a late arrival, and I just stay there and he's like, man, you look amazing. It's great to see you. He's like, oh my gosh, thanks. You do too. Wait, you sound really familiar. Yeah, you do too. And then he asks, are you Mantle? Yeah. Ferox? Yeah. It's one of my closest friends from middle school. We had not seen each other since high school. So suddenly
that's crazy how that works.
Suddenly Demise and Wolflink are just bear hugging the daylights out of each other, and everyone starts
I hope someone got a photo of that.
Yep. No, they did. And people start cheering and screaming, and they have no idea what's happening. They just know, that's really cute. Demise and Wolflink are hugging.
Nice.
But no, that was great. I've also met Charles Martinet a couple times. Got to meet him right before actually the Switch had come out, and this was right before Odyssey came out. And I was asking him like his thoughts on. He's like, oh my gosh, it's so great. It's such an amazing game. It was so much fun voicing. He's just gushing about this game, and it was really wholesome. Like, obviously, he couldn't tell me much about it, but to know his genuine excited reaction for it was fun.
Martinet, I got him to sign I also got him to sign this little poster that has it's like Wario stuff, because I'm a big Wario fanatic. And as he's signing it, he's doing this big off the cuff riff in character as Wario.
Oh no, he's always doing that.
And I even asked him if he could even throw in a "Have a rotten day" from Wario World in there, because that's my favorite Wario line.
That's a good one. It's a good one.
I was on cloud nine.
Yeah.
My inner child was like just crying tears of joy.
Now, for me, like getting to meet different stars with him, but actually, so one of the best, and I've been very fortunate to meet several celebrities, both Japanese and Western. One of my favorite ones, which I'm surprised I didn't type up earlier, was also from Dragon Con several years ago. This was the year I met Peter Capaldi. Peter Capaldi was not my highlight. He was not my highlight. Tad Stones was my highlight.
Wow.
For those who don't know, this is the man who created Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck.
Oh, yeah, that guy. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
And for those who don't know with me, my favorite non-anime show is Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. Like, I am a certified
that was one of my
Ranger
favorites
file.
too growing up.
And I purchased an original drawing by Tad Stones himself. So yeah, I met Peter Capaldi. That was cool. Tad Stones, though, like I was gushing,
major deal.
Out so hard. Oh my god, no.
He also did a couple of Hellboy cartoons I really liked.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he did, yeah.
He's done a lot, and I actually cosplayed Dale. He's my favorite character from that. And my friend, my same like Midna friend, she's cosplayed Gadget, and it's just
nice.
So no, seriously, it's an amazing show. And for those who have not caught it or haven't seen it in a while, let me go ahead and tell you, it holds up.
It does.
It really holds up so well. If you want a really funny, I do know that, Charlotte. Yes, I do know it was originally going to be based on the Rescuers. And while that's cool, Chip and Dale are way cooler. If you want an actual bit of hilarity with how much I fucking know Rescue Rangers, there were 65 episodes of the show. It should have been longer, but fucking syndication.
Yeah.
They did release some comics though, which expanded the story and was amazing, almost like PG-13 level.
I'm gonna have to read them.
There were 2 video games.
Yes, there are 2 video games. My favorite NES games.
Oh,
so good. But there were 65 episodes. And this was one of those shows where they would always do the opening theme and then start the episode, and a few seconds later, here's the title. I know this show so well that you could play the opening theme, have me in another room blindfolded, and as soon as the Chip and Dale, and then give me those first few seconds, from sound, I can tell you what the episode is before the title flashes up on the screen.
Awesome.
So, not trying to flex because this would be a flex, but another fun one
enough.
really is Rico Fiardo. He's an amazing English voice actor. He's basically already dubbed me a friend, and he actually pulled me to do an escape room with him because the man is obsessed with escape rooms.
Ooh.
He is so sweet. He's so sweet. And my Splatoon meetup is always a great time. Like, I've become like mag famous because of the Splatoon meetup, to the point where I almost always have to cosplay Mantle, because the one year I cosplayed Big Man, people didn't recognize me. We're like, oh, wait, it's you. But just always those wholesome, fun interactions, because like Splatoon, there's a lot of us Splatoon fans out there. We just can't always find each other. And again, there's too many stories, but I have to share one from this weekend with these 5 new amazing friends I made. So like I said earlier, my favorite anime of all time is Zombieland Saga. It has finally usurped Sailor Moon as my favorite. If you've not seen it, highly recommend it. If you ever have questions about it, my inbox is open. I have actually visited the prefecture where it takes place at, and we'll hopefully be getting news about continuation soon. And it's also really easy to accessible, because right now it's only 24 episodes in a movie. The movie's not available for streaming yet, but I'm keeping my eyes peeled for it. It's one of those shows that has something in for everyone. So the only character that I identify with more than my character from Zombieland Saga is Impa from the Zelda series, especially Ocarina of Time. Saki Nikaido in Zombieland Saga. My friends, whether they know each other or not, they start watching the show like, dear God, Mantle, why is she you? And I cosplay multiple outfits of hers. And in the Japanese original, she's voiced by Asami Tano, Asamin, who is also Sarah Kazuno in Love Live Sunshine. In the dub, she's voiced by the illustrious Caitlin Glass, who I have met a few times, including reuniting with her again this weekend. She's incredible. She does Elma in Xenoblade Chronicles X, as well as tons of other roles, most known for Winry in Fullmetal Alchemist.
Yep, that's what
really,
I thought.
She's really sweet. She's really amazing. And because the con I was just at this weekend is Zenkai Con. And aside from the other reasons and my friends I wanted to return to it with, Caitlin Glass was a guest this year. And I really wanted to see her again, especially because last time I saw her, I hadn't been in a good place. And I wanted to see her again and be like, hey, not just your characters, but you as Caitlin Glass are an inspiration to me. And I'm in a better place now. And you've helped with that. And it's great to see you as this character and also as this character. And it was a really wholesome interaction. But where I'm going with this, so I made sure that yesterday I was cosplaying as Saki with one of her outfits from the opening themes of the movie. And I'm about to go to the vendor's hall. That's where the tables are. And I look over, I'm like, that hair looks very familiar. I see 2 girls dressed up as 2 of the other characters from Zombieland Saga. I just come up and wave at them, and they start geeking out over me, like, oh my gosh, we have 2 more here. So there's 7, not including the producer, there's 7 main characters. They're dressed up as 4 of them, and they are just gushing over me to the point of like, oh my gosh, yeah, we're going to get a picture with her. You should come join us. Wait, are you sure? No, they insisted, and they bring me in with the other one, and then so she starts waving and then freaks out. It's like, wait, why is there Saki with you? And we spent like 13 minutes with Caitlin Glass, just the 5 of us.
Yeah.
And it was so great. And then they went on ahead, when then they're like, hey, want to hang out with us? Sure, if I'm not imposing. And we go around and go to a couple panels and stuff together. And then we all start, like that thing I was saying earlier, like have a friend group who you can do stuff together, but then you do your own thing.
Yeah.
We start all splitting and doing that. But both yesterday and today, we kept bouncing, like, and then getting back together and did a couple random impromptu photo shoots of these characters. And I'm sitting there like, man, this is what it feels like to be in a photo shoot, like in the group that they're in. And just, I said 5, even though I mentioned 4. There was another friend who they've not gotten him into the show yet, but he took a bunch of pictures for us yesterday. And he was just, he's a good egg. He's so sweet. But just being able to suddenly have 5 close new friends like that. And they were so wholesome when we were hugging goodbye. They're just like, you're a really cool person. I'm just like,
I had actually another story of meeting someone who I really liked, if that's okay. I don't want to take up too much time, but
dude, you're good.
But this was at the same convention where I met Kevin Conroy. I met Brent Spiner, Data from Star Trek.
Oh,
wonderful guy. But when I was approaching his booth, I was very nervous. I was like, oh God, I don't want to make a fool of myself, because I'm going to be open here. I'm on the autistic spectrum, and Data was basically kind of like my formative representation of autism, even though he's an android, right? you know, because I saw, yeah, okay, I see someone in the chat mentioning data too, yeah, but yeah, so I'm very nervous. I'm like, oh my God, what if he just is a little like, yeah, whatever. I hear that all the time, you know. So if I, you know, you know, like, but I walk up to him, he starts and he said, I think he must have sensed that I was nervous, so he starts cracking jokes and making me laugh, and I'm like, and helping me relax, and I'm like, oh God, thank God, it's just such a great guy, you know, and you know, and you know, and then I finally get to tell him that how formative data was for me as a kid with growing up with, you know, being autistic and everything. And he said, you know, I hear that all the time, but I'm always humbled to hear it. So I'm glad, you know, so I'm glad to meet another one. You know,
That's
just
awesome.
such so he couldn't have been sweeter. Then fast forward like an hour or so later, I'm walking up to him for our photo op, and he's like, hey, Calvin, right? And I'm like, Kevin, actually. He's like, Kevin, right. And he
That's
claps me on the shoulder and
big
puts
flips
his
in the
arm around me
data
and goes,
there.
smile for the camera, Kevin. Let's have some fun here. Just, yeah. I don't really have the picture on hand to show, but you know, I'm just grinning ear to ear being next to him.
No, I feel
He was
you.
so great.
No, we were talking a
So,
bit for those who, I mean, Kevin and I were both chatting before we went live. I've got to meet Peter Mayhew a couple times, and Chewbacca was my favorite character, so that was epic.
Chewbacca was my mom's favorite character
Yeah,
too.
no,
So
he was so sweet. And God, there was another voice actor I just mentioned, but no, there's so many great ones there. But no, that getting to meet him was really sweet and formative. And again, it's because there's so many memories here. I'm trying not to take up all the time with it.
It's all good.
yeah, me neither. Me neither.
Knowing me, Shellshock's gonna jump on with his, and it's gonna come to me again.
It's yeah.
Fair enough.
All right. I got a couple of stories I want to talk about.
Yay!
So where do I begin? So in terms of fondest memories, I do remember like in New York Comic Con in 2013, Nintendo had 2 booths. Now this convention itself, that year's Comic Con was not great, but this is the best moment that took place. For me, I remember going into Nintendo's booth. Like they had like the downstairs one where you get to try out like upcoming games as well as participate in competitions they were hosting. And they had Wii U set up with the NES balloon fight game. They were doing tournaments, and they did a balloon fight tournament. I participated in it, and to my shock, I did not think I was going to make it as far as I did, but I actually won it. And I ended up winning the Legend of Zelda themed Wii U.
Oh, that's tight. I love that.
Unfortunately, I don't have that Wii U anymore because I needed the money badly, so I sold it. But
fair.
But I did have that Wii U. But that moment was amazing.
Oh, for sure.
But that moment was so huge that apparently I made it onto Nintendo of America's social medias. And they actually invited...
I remember this story.
They invited me to meet Reggie Fils-Aimé at an event like a few weeks later.
I wish I could meet Reggie.
In a private event. Because he did that in 2013. And he actually did another private event in 2014, which Silver and I did that together. But in 2013, it was really cool. At the time, like the newest games were... A Link Between Worlds and Super Mario 3D World and Mario Party Island Tour, which the less said about Mario Party Island Tour, the better. Not a good Mario Party.
Never played it, but I've been told I'm all the better for it. So.
Yeah, it's one of the worst Mario parties. We've had much better Mario parties after that. But anyway, 3D World was good. Link Between Worlds was good. But it was a good time. But yeah, other fond memories in regards to conventions. I remember going into there was a local anime convention in New Jersey called Anime Next. I used to go there. I went there in 2014 and 2015, but specifically the year I'm going to talk about is 2014 because I went with Silver, and then we participated in a Mario Kart 8 tournament for the Wii U because it just came out around that time. and that tournament was actually where I got to meet a longtime friend of mine, Mulet Maple. I got to meet him and his sisters, and that was a lot of fun. And after that, like Maple and I were talking off and on. Like we would play Mario Kart together for a while, and then like I started seeing Maple go to the meetup, like the Switch and Play NYC meetups. And then after that, like we became very close friends afterwards. So yeah, that's my thing. Like other fond memories I could think of. Pretty much all the times that I've gone to Long Island Retro and to PAX East have always been a great time. Like I will talk more about New York Comic Con 2013 because like there was a question that would be asked during the community questions that I'll get to later on, but otherwise, like I had some pretty fond memories in general, with like so many different moments. But I will say though, for PAX East last year, I had a fantastic time overall, like hosting the panel that I did with the guys. We talked about the Nintendo Switch, and I was also a part of another panel that Azran hosted, which was about Labo, because he did a Labo panel the year before in 2024 when I didn't go, but in 2025 I went, and it was great. It was a fantastic time, but the one thing I'll say is that we went to this restaurant called Tony C's, which I just recently found out that it doesn't exist anymore. It just closed down like not too long ago. But when I went, it turned out that when I ordered loaded nachos, because here's what happened, because the restaurant part was closed, but they only kept the bar part, so we only had the bar food, the bar selections. Mm-hmm. So I ordered loaded nachos, and I forgot to ask them to take out jalapenos.
Oh boy.
I'm pretty sure you can imagine just what happened after that. I had to choose a very awkward moment, and I'm sure you would understand what happens when you forget to take out the jalapenos. Mm-hmm. So I told people
I like jalapenos, but I understand.
I told people the next time I order loaded nachos, remind me, and if I don't say hold the jalapenos, remind me to do that. Never again am I gonna have jalapeno peppers on loaded nachos. Like that was a horrible idea. Like I paid for it. But I felt bad because I just paid for it, and then I was gonna order something else in its place, which I got myself some like pretzels with like a cheese dip, and which was way better. And then I was about to pay for it, and then after that they told me, no, don't worry about it. You already paid for the loaded nachos. But I was about to pay for but I was like, okay, cool. But I felt bad because like I wanted to give them. I wanted to get the money because like I felt bad for them. It's just because it wasn't even their fault. It was a me problem. But yeah.
Yeah.
But
yeah, I see right now you're making me wish I had one of my bottles of hot sauce up here. Like I'll just disclaimer for the chat. I don't judge anyone on what their spice tolerance is. Everyone's tongue is different. I am a spice head. I have a hot sauce which is 12 million Scovilles. For frame of reference, pure capsaicin's 15 million. It's called Regret and it's tasty. Thankfully a drop will do you. Sure enough, Shellshock, he reminded me two more quick things. Like the other one is that
I was gonna say I like some spicy food myself. Like this past January was my brother's birthday, and we ordered food from the local Indian place down the road from where we're living here, and I decided to try their goat curry. And
oh, nice! I love goat curry.
I'd never had it, so I mean, I had goat, but I've never had goat curry. So I'm like, I gotta give it a try.
For the chat here, I've seen people like, yeah, I will bring one of these hot sauces up, whether this chat or otherwise, to show you guys. I'll eat it. But couple real quick things on that since you just reminded me. I typed it in chat, but Ellen McLean's another amazing voice actor who like remembers me each time she sees me, and turns out the aquarium I worked at for my first aquarium job is very close to where she cut her teeth with theater acting. And she just gushes like, "Oh my gosh, you're a marine biologist," and she's so sweet, and her husband's so nice too. Shellshock reminded me of PAX. I have not been to PAX East yet. I did go to PAX South, however, for one of the years that existed because it's on indefinite hiatus, and I got to go in January 2017, which was a month and a half before the Switch 1 came out.
Ooh.
And I got to play the Switch 1 a month and a half prior to release. Like, I went there with a couple friends. Like, we day tripped because we were 3 hours away. And as soon as we got in, it's like, guys, I'm getting in this line. And I got in the line to play Breath of the Wild. And I almost started tearing up getting to play like the first 20 minutes of that game. And then went in the line again twice to get to go play other games like Splatoon 2, ARMS, Super Bomberman R, Street Fighter, Snipper Clips.
Yep.
And then a handheld of Splatoon 2. And it was funny because for those who don't know, I'm an X-Ranker in Splatoon, and I'm there, and there's a couple of people online like see me running around the tutorial mode. They're like, "Oh yeah, have fun, hope it goes well." And then I start doing all this high level stuff, and they got real quiet.
Yep.
Well, sometimes that happens.
But yeah, so just being able to play that console before it came out, what an experience! It's so good.
Oh yeah. Like I've been to that. I've been to that event. Mm-hmm. It was so good. Just, I mean, the thing is, I already played Breath of the Wild, like trying it out before it released, because Nintendo New York had the E3 demo fair.
Yeah, you did that, yeah.
But nice. I went on the Sunday because it was hard to get in, so I got
understandable
because there was a spot that opened up, so they had like the first come first serve, and I got in. So I took one of the spots that opened up. And I got a chance to play. I got a chance to play Breath of the Wild for the first time. It was the only time I ever played it on the Wii U because when I got the game, it was on Switch. So, but
makes sense.
But that was like in my mind, like I need this game. I need this game. I want this so bad, and I got it. And when I went to the Nintendo Switch preview event, what happened was because I went with my now ex-girlfriend, and we had a great time. They had like everything, like as you mentioned, Mantle, Snipper Clips, Street Fighter. They had this guy at 5. They had Has Been Heroes. They had 1-2 Switch. They had ARMS.
1-2 Switch was the other one.
I didn't get a chance to play ARMS there because the line was not Breath of the Wild big, but it was big enough.
I made sure that ARMS was the second one I played after Splatoon 2, and I fucking love ARMS. Like, I don't think people understand how much I love ARMS. So, like,
ARMS, but I've been wanting.
You need to.
Like, it's great.
Sorry.
I love ARMS.
Since we're on conventions, I cosplay Ninjara, and I actually had a real knack with it early on. Like, I love Gunshot. I love ARMS more. I'm just gonna say it. Like ARMS did well. It really did, but it had the bad timing of coming out in between Mario Kart 8 Deluxe and then a month before Splatoon 2.
Yes.
And it sold well over 1 million copies, but if an ARMS 2 or anything else with ARMS is ever announced and y'all hear an explosion from the Mid-Atlantic region, that was my excitement.
Me too. I will be picking ARMS. If they ever make a sequel, day one.
Boom!
Day
Dude,
one.
Shellshock, when that happens, you and I are going to be screaming in each other's DMs.
Yeah. They were hoping for that.
Last, I'm sure.
They were hoping for that game to be another big hit like Splatoon, but it's just bad timing.
Yeah, but the fact that Min Min is in Smash, I'm genuinely hoping we'll get something else for it someday. And I'll say this, as much as I love ARMS, if we never do, I will not be upset. But I'd really like for it to happen.
Yes.
I'll have to find a copy for myself then to add to my already extensive Switch collection. If you can see in the back.
The great thing about ARMS though is that you can pick up and play for hours on end, or just do a couple matches here and there. It's really easy to jump in.
That's how I treat Smash Brothers these days.
Yeah.
Now, one other like fond memory I could think of regarding like conventions for me was I had a great time. I honestly just felt like I had a fantastic time. Out of all the Long Island retros I went to, I think 2024 was probably like my favorite. It was fantastic.
There's my Switch collection.
Yeah, mine's like underneath my flannel shirts over there. So
I kept pointing it out right there.
No, I saw you did. That's why I was like, oh, yeah. So
mine's
all
underneath
this,
my
all
flannel
this,
shirt
that.
with like my proton pack and everything.
I hold it back far enough this way. Sorry, you were saying?
But yeah.
I kind of got a good look, but yeah.
I'll send it later.
And there's
Yeah.
a discussion about spice happening in the Twitch chat at the moment.
Yes,
There is.
I love you guys for that. But like,
I was going to also mention that in terms of spice, like sometimes I like to mix in some crushed red pepper when I'm making my scrambled eggs to give it a little bite to wake me up in the morning. And there's also these like snack bites I've become really addicted to
Oh,
that
they're so good.
they're like made with like rice and such, but they have this golden curry flavor that's just absolute heaven. I love it.
yeah.
Is it fun memory, Shellshock?
So yeah, like,
Carry on. Sorry.
like out of all the Long Island retros, like I absolutely had a great time with the one in 2024. Like that was like probably my favorite one in terms of the fact that like there was just so much going on. Like bringing like having all my friends, like a lot of my friends there, just like it's always a great time every year. But like 2024 just felt like it was an amazing time for me, like the best. That we pretty much got to do almost everything that we wanted to do that time. And I felt like
that was me with MagFest last year. I feel you, man.
Yeah, that was like I felt like the most amount of enjoyment. Granted, 2015, 2025, I got to participate in more tournaments and I got a couple medals. I actually got like a medal back in 2018 where it was for a cosplay contest, and at the time, like it was after Odyssey came out, so I had the Mario hat with the cappy and the costume and everything, and it was a hit. But last year I decided to do Foreman Spike, and Foreman Spike was really good. Like, because after watching the Mario movie, I'm like, I love this character because he was also from an NES game, Wrecking Crew.
Yep.
So, but they changed him up, and he looks so much better. And again, like, had a great time overall. Now the next thing I want to ask before we do the community questions is how much do conventions mean to you?
I think they mean a lot to me because, you know, I feel like I can really be myself, and I can just like the 10th Doctor, and everyone knows everyone who knows, and they're like, awesome, can I get a picture? Or like, awesome, you know, can I take a picture of you? I know that sounds a little narcissistic, but I feel like it gives me a sense of validation in a way that sometimes I don't always get, you know. Yeah.
Yeah. What about you, Mantle?
Conventions mean everything to me. Like, again, I would be saying this regardless of. I don't exaggerate when I say this weekend was nothing short of magical. Like, again, I've been grinning like a goof since yesterday morning because of just the vibe, the old friends I've known for years, every single one of who I had met thanks to conventions, and then new friends I literally just met yesterday. Getting to be in and around my interests and kindred spirits and just take in that vibe. And to me, it's like outside of like trying to take one big vacation every year, most of my time off is just taking a day here and there for cons. And I've done anything from one con a year to 1 year I was batshit insane and did 17. For point of reference though, except for a few of them, most of them were within driving distance. And it was either a quick day thing or short weekend. It was in 2017 when I did 17 cons. I never again.
17 and 17.
Exactly. But no, they mean the world to me. Like, if I had to ever make a list of like top 10 most meaningful things to me, conventions would be on that list. Like not as high as I'm just gonna say my found family, which includes my dad, my friends, and my cats. But very high up there, along with my favorite video game and anime series. Just the fact that that's part of why some of these pieces of media mean so much to me. It's not just the memories I'd forged with them, but the people I've met through them and those friendships I've forged with them. Same thing with conventions. Again, like most of y'all here I've met online, and you're close friends, and I love every single one of you. And then some of you I've met first at cons or vice versa, like Tina Angelic. She and I first met online here. We've since met in person. And it was amazing, and I'd love to hang out more. It'll happen because that's just how life is. But just being able to be in your element around, and no matter what the state of the world is at any given time, conventions are an escape. I mean, yes, there can be drama at them. I've been in drama at them. Like, I've not tried to be. I've not been the drama, but I've had to subdue the drama or ignore the drama. But to me, they just mean the absolute world. Like, I'm not exaggerating. This weekend was my 138th convention, if that tells you anything.
Oh,
So, I think it says a lot.
Yeah, and I have my favorite ones, which I go to, like the 5 that I go to, I don't miss. Okay, one of them's kind of an asterisk, like if there's a Japan trip, just because timing. The 5 I never miss, no matter what, are Animazement, MagFest, Katsucon, DragonCon, and NekoCon. NekoCon is, I love it, but if I ever have to miss it because of November timing, I can. And it's chill enough that way. ZenkaiCon's also up there. And there's other shows that I've greatly enjoyed. And because of having lived all over the place with work, I've been able to experience a bunch of different cons, some of which I would happily return to. It's just not feasible. Others of which, well, I'm glad I tried that. Ever again, including one con that I bought a ticket to and then only later learned, oh, this con's terrible.
Mm-hmm.
But, I had bought the badge and I went to do my own research and I learned even more for our case. But no, just I love, and not all conventions are great. I'm just going to say that right now. Not all conventions are great, and no convention is perfect. But your ideal convention, no matter the size, is going to be a place where people can come together and have fun. And on the management side is going to be a place that wants to grow and build their convention naturally and also encourages other conventions to grow. It's kind of like our Sony exec saying, yeah, when Nintendo's doing well, we're all doing well. When Nintendo's strong, we're strong. That's how that should be. But no, cons just, I have got to meet, again, some of my closest friends in life, my found family. I have got to meet incredible celebrities, some of who are no longer with us.
Mm-hmm.
I have got to go to events that no longer exist, like AzaleaCon. I went to that Tales of convention that used to be in Texas. And the Tales of series is my 4th favorite series of all time.
I love the Tales series too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And I've got to continue to perfect and boost my craft. If you might recall from the cosplay, convention, well, from the cosplay stream podcast, I used to compete, and I will compete again someday. I've hit master level. I didn't quit because I hit master level, because there's other stuff I want to do at cons. I get to dress up and embody these characters who mean a lot to me. And like, that's part of what was so fun with all of our pictures last night is I'm dressed up as
I'm cosplaying here.
Exactly. This is the shirt I was wearing with my costume today. And I literally, like last night hanging out with my friends, like the 5 of us were dressed up as characters who were basically us, and we were just goofing around as them. So getting to meet people from a similar interest, forge those connections, and just exist in a wholesome, different space for a few days. There's nothing like it. A quick caveat, conventions over here are very different from conventions in Japan. They're both amazing. I've not been to Japanese ones, but talking to my friends who live there. They're both great for their own ways. There's things I prefer about one or the other, but they're all great. The fact that they exist and we as a fandom, we as geeks, have this space. I love conventions.
Oh, yeah. I love conventions so much because of how, like, you feel like you're in a different world, it's a different space. Mm-hmm. And especially, like, if you're going through a lot, and let's say, like, there's something going on in your life and you just want to just get out of there and have something completely new, have something completely different, a completely different change of pace, mind you, in which that you want to have something where you feel more comfortable where you are, and just for like a couple of days, you can get away from whatever nonsense that you're dealing with. Yes, there's going to be drama inside the conventions. There's going to be drama adjacent to the conventions. They may not happen inside itself, but there may be something that's taking place surrounding it, whether if it's based on some individuals or if it has something to do with like anything that's going on in the real world that like certain circumstances that are beyond our control. Still, for me, conventions have meant so much to me because I just love being able to do something completely different, something out of the ordinary. When your life has something like a set routine and you just want to break that routine for a few days, this is it. Especially if you're going to a completely different state that you're not that familiar with. So it's an adventure.
Yep. I'm going on an adventure.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was, depending on which borders you're looking at, I was 2 to 3 states away this weekend, and whether it's a con in my backyard or my home con or one that I'm traveling for, you're right. It is an adventure. And another big thing too, like kind of going on with what we were saying, is that cons are also what you make of them. Some cons, you go crazy, do everything. Other cons, chill vibe, go for it.
Yeah.
And that's a fun thing I love with them too, is like how many things are similar from year to year, but are also different. And it's just always that great experience. And I love them.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
It's really just the fact that I just love just going around meeting people for the first time or seeing friends that I haven't seen in forever.
Yes.
Especially if it doesn't matter if you go to the convention by yourself or you go to the convention with your friends. It's just a fantastic experience. Like I always enjoy meeting up with people there. I always enjoy meeting up or just bringing people from different circles together based on people and going out to get food afterwards or going wherever we want to do like any activities. Like, oh, we're in this area for a couple of days. We want to do this or do that while we're here because we have time. And they're like, sure. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
So one of the things I really want to do during a time of convention is if there's a karaoke bar, I want to take people to a karaoke bar so we could sing.
God.
See, there's often karaoke at the cons I go to, and one of them I've been meaning to, I just hadn't got to yet. I want to compete in karaoke dressed up as Saki from Zombieland Saga and sing one of her songs, Do You Hate Windy Days? I know that song verbatim. I'd sing it right now if you wanted me to, but I just need to finally do that. But no, it's like, and it's cool too, like the more cons grow, you see they add these things with that, like whether like little performance spaces or quiet rooms, and it's just neat to see that evolution.
Yeah. And it's like I may not be able to sing that well, but damn it, I love having fun singing for karaoke.
That's the important thing. That's the important thing with
it's the vibes.
Yeah, no, for sure. I mean, I've been told I sing well, and I appreciate those compliments, but I'm not going to judge someone on their singing ability. I mean, I'm a musician, but I'll be like, hey, have fun. That's the important thing.
Yeah, exactly.
I used to be a musician myself. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's like if like people were playing like back in the day, like when Guitar Hero Rock Band were a thing, like, and especially for Rock Band, if people needed a singer, I'll sing. Like, you guys just do the instruments, I'll sing.
Yeah, and then like at one of the dances they've had at NecoCon, the DJ varies. Like, I'm good friends with one of the best DJs, but they prioritize him for the rave as well. They should. There was another one who had a decent set list, and they're bouncing between like just general dance songs and fun formal stuff, and then random anime songs, and they're playing the Naruto opening theme, and you got half these weebs running around in Naruto just for shits and giggles.
Yeah.
And then they play the song that Anna and Han sing in Frozen, and my friend pulls me up, and we just started like dancing around doing this one together. It's like finish each other's sandwiches. It was. And then, of course, at the end, I dropped down on one knee, and everyone thought I was proposing to her, even though she's already engaged. But that's the friendship we have. We're able to. And again, this is another friend I met thanks to cons. So.
Yep.
But.
Oh yeah. Like, like there's so many different activities I would like to do with people,
Yes.
like while we're at the conventions as well, like even outside of it. But
Oh yeah.
let's do the community questions, and
Yes. Speaking of community,
Charlotte has the first one. Convention goers often talk about the presence of con flu or con crud. What methods do you use for trying to prevent yourself from getting sick at conventions? That's a bit tricky for me because I've only because I will say I've only ever gotten really sick at a convention once, and that was back in New York Comic Con in 2014. But if you want some tips, wash your hands is definitely like a big one.
wash your hands.
Like stay hydrated, like because you definitely want to. Because if you're not going to be hydrated, you're going to get sick. So stay hydrated. Get like a water bottle or any other types of like bottles you have. And there's water fountains. Fill them up, but as long as you have water, and make sure to eat proper food. And I agree with what Prince Charmless said in the chat. Take breaks, go outside, yes. But also, just make sure, and just also take a shower. Especially a hot shower.
Oh yeah, and most importantly, use soap.
Yes.
I always take a good shower like the night before I go to a convention. So
For me, I second a lot of what Shellshock was saying. Now, for me personally, I already have a really good immune system, but that doesn't mean I think I'm bulletproof. To varying levels, I do the biggest thing. I wash my hands. I mean, I'm used to sterilization and sanitation at work. I have to, especially with the animals and cross contamination I potentially work with. I try to get rest where I can because the way my brain is wired, it's not always the rest that I need. But I'd still do what I can. Like I said earlier, I always bring masks with me. And again, I admit I do not always wear them as much as I should, but depending on situations and circumstances and company, it's on. And I will always encourage people to wear it, whether I'm presently jumping to wear one or not. And to varying degrees of success, I also do try to load up on like vitamin C and zinc and any of those, like those good boosts that way before, during, and after the weekend. Now, here's the thing though. And again, at the risk of telling people what they already know, vitamin C is wonderful. You have to keep pumping it in your system though, because it is water soluble. Case in point, if you take 1,000 milligram vitamin C multivitamin in the morning, you're going to pee most of it out before your body has absorbed it. Like you simply can't absorb most of what all's in there. So one of the things I'll recommend to everyone, like if you can feel your stuff starting to get sick or you are sick, vitamin C is not going to magically make you better, but it will help you out. Fruit snacks. Fruit snacks are 100% vitamin C. Just snack on one of those like every hour or a couple hours, like Fruit by the Foot, Gushers. If you just want an actual orange, go for it. Just like pump that in your system. But yeah, sleep, rest, just genuinely try to do that. And I'm just going to say it. If you are like genuinely sick, stay home. I don't care how fun that convention is or how much it means to you. Stay home. So I'm glad you mentioned 2014 because that was a real bad year. That was when H1N1 was real bad. One of our like high ups who started Katsucon died from complications from contracting that because patient 0 went to Katsucon that year.
Yeah.
And I am lucky I have a good immune system because by vector contact, I contracted H1N1. I am extremely lucky that I was in between jobs. I was knocked on my ass for 2 weeks. My drink of choice every day was NyQuil. That's the only way I could function.
Yeah.
And if it's allergies or something mildly symptomatic, but you're not sick, just mask. Just go ahead and mask. Like I had a sinus infection last week. You bet your backside I made sure I was non-contagious before I did anything. Now, I still have a bit of a cough from it. Not sick, but your throat's going to continue to be the last thing there. But yeah, just the biggest thing really is monitor yourself, monitor your symptoms. And if you realize that you have come across or like been exposed to a virus or any other pathogen, let your crew know, because like at Katsucon just last month, one of my good friends, she was not only exposed, but she caught influenza A and B, like both simultaneously.
Oh shit.
Thankfully, I hadn't been around her as much, and I'd also been doing all my steps, so I didn't get anything. But she let me know so I could be on the lookout. So that's another thing, is if you realize that, let your crew know.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, my nephew ended up contracting influenza B a few months ago, and it hit him like a truck. So
yeah,
I get it.
and it's just literally, and if you're able to go ahead and get your vaccinations, like whether update your COVID or your flu ones beforehand, do. If you're not able to, I'm not going to judge you for it, but just still take your steps, if not to protect yourself, but to protect everyone else around you.
Yes.
Not to get too heavy on that, but anyways, just again, good hygiene, good vitamins, good rest, and be conscientious and communicative. Yes, exactly.
Exactly. I wanna just touch up real quick on like when like in 2014, that year, New York Comic Con, like I felt great up until like sometime in Sunday afternoon. Like it was around like about like an hour and a half before the convention was about to end. I started feeling something. I was thinking that at first I thought it was something a little bit minor that I thought it would pass, and then about like 15 minutes, like, but it didn't really hit me until like it didn't really hit me badly until when I went to Wendy's because I wanted to get something to eat, and then like around the time where like I went to Wendy's, I was sitting down, I was eating, and then that's when I started to really feel really worse as while I was eating. And I was like in my mind, as soon as I'm done with my food, I'm going home. I just finished my food as fast as possible. And then I just took the train home, and then I started to feel worse like when like the train was getting closer to my stop. And then like I got back home, and then my mom was obviously concerned with me because I was sick. And that was the first time I ever had like con crud or con flu. And then like it was so bad that I had to go to the emergency room like later that night.
Yeah.
And like I was gonna try to sleep it off, but then like I had to go to the emergency room. Like no, like
yeah. I guess I got real quick. I've only ever heard it referred to as con crud, but and for full disclosure, outside of H1N1, I have got con crud before, but only a handful of times. But again, that doesn't mean I'm ever lax against it. So
yeah,
I feel that it's been getting better since 2020, honestly. But again, no one's immune.
Yeah. What about you, Kevin? Like, did you have any issues? Like,
I'm lucky that I've never really gotten. I usually just go for one day when I go to my local Comic Con, particularly Motorcycle Comic, and I usually go on a Saturday, and usually the next day I'm still feeling fine. So you know,
yeah.
But I still take precautions anyway, just to be on the safe side. I think the worst feeling I ever got really post a convention was one time when I was in a relationship with somebody, and we went to a convention in like Philadelphia or something like that, and we came back to where she was living, and and then like a couple, and then later that night, before we went to bed, I ended up having some really bad diarrhea, and I was due to fly home the next day, which didn't help. So so I was like, oh fuck, diarrhea, But that's probably the worst I've ever gotten. And so I guess I'm lucky that my immune system's pretty strong too, so that I've been able to avoid con crud.
Oh man,
never say never. It could happen eventually, but But
always.
luckily I live with family that are very understanding if I hole up in my room and kind of isolate myself for a bit. And like I was kind of ill like in early December, like before Christmas this past year. And I hold myself up in my room, and I just sipped water, and I could not really eat anything. And I just kind of just laid in bed and slept. And when I wasn't sleeping, I'd play a game on my Switch or something, And
oh yeah.
Real quick,
at low volume, because sometimes if I was sick, if I switched to high volume, I'd be like, oh, my head, because it's like so.
It just hits that frequency. Yeah, on that, like, I feel extremely fortunate that I live alone. Like I've actually lived by myself for coming up on 23 years now. But while it's normally great, when you're sick, it fucking sucks. Like I am so grateful to finally be in the era of delivery services. Like not in this city where I'm in now, but previously GoPuff was immensely helpful for me. DoorDash helps out a lot. Like when I'm I'm too knocked out to go get myself some Dayquil, like DoorDash helps. But no, the thing with me is like I mentioned, I have a great immune system. I very rarely get sick, thankfully. But when I get sick, I get sick.
Same here.
Oh, jeez.
Knocks me on my ass.
I had that sinus infection last week. The last real bad one for me, though, was I got sick the day I was flying back from Japan. And the poor flight attendants were fussing over me so hard. Thankfully, I understood more than enough Japanese to relay what was happening. But they got me a cold compress to stick on my head, and they gave me a thermometer, and they gave me medicine, and they're constantly checking on me.
Oh, bless them.
They were. I came home and I slept.
Ginger root. Yeah, I saw someone mention ginger root in there.
My
brother likes to cut up ginger and
my friend who picked me up from the airport, like she was thrilled to see me, but our reunion wasn't as hyper as it normally would have been because she knew how dead I was. She basically took me home, hugged me goodbye, went ahead and scooped the cat's box for me since she knew I was sick. I crawled in bed. I didn't know anything for 16 hours.
That'll do it.
Yeah.
But again, just take care of yourself.
Oh, absolutely. You got to take care of yourself. I do want to bring up one more thing before we go to the next community question. So
all right.
I actually got to go to PAX East in 2020, and I got to bring this up real quick because this was a few weeks before everything shut down.
Because I was at MAG and Katsu in 2020 as well. Same.
And what happened was when I went, that Sunday, because they hosted it on late February that went into March, because that year was a leap year. Like February, the weekend was like from February 27th to March 1st. And March 1st, we found out that Boston had the first known case of COVID. Granted, it wasn't anywhere near, it wasn't the part of Boston where we were, but it was a sign of concern. I remember when I went, because they were just taking a lot of necessary precautions just in case if anyone had COVID and or at least brought it unknowingly, because anyone who knew they had it, they weren't going to go.
Oh no!
Go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead. I was going to say I can understand going somewhere before COVID hit, and then when you get home, that's when everything starts to slowly lock down, because I think it was I wasn't going to a convention. I was going to visit a friend of mine in a town called Battle Creek here in Michigan, and because she was expecting her first child with her husband, and she wanted me there for the gender reveal party. It wasn't like one of those explosive ones. Don't worry. It was just very down to earth, and I basically attended it and spent a few extra days with her before taking the train back home. And it was like one of my first days back at work was when things were starting to lock down.
And
I'm like, oh, fuck me. I'm so glad I went. I'm still glad I went, but it was like, fuck me, really?
Because I got to meet a couple of people who are really good friends of mine to this day. I actually got to meet my buddy Mr. Ben, who's been a guest on this podcast multiple times.
Yeah.
And
I kind of befriended Mr. Ben a while back. He commented on one of my YouTube videos, and I'm like, oh, cool dude.
I love Mr. Ben.
And also another friend of mine, Kyle Gamer. I actually met him back when I still watched Game Explained before the Exodus. Because there was a Game Explained meetup, and at the time, that was when Ash Paulson and Derek Bittner of Game Explained were still there before they left to go to Good Vibes Gaming. And yeah, that's where I met Kyle Gamer. That's where I met some other people I know. And the thing is, at PAC, so many conventions, I've met people for the first time there, and then they became actual like real life friends from moving forward. Granted, 2020 was hard to do that because we were locked up at homes because of COVID.
Yeah.
But it was understandable because we had to make sure to protect ourselves because we did not want anybody to get this.
Exactly.
Like the thing is, I was less worried about myself getting it and more worried about my mom getting it because
For real.
because her immune system was a lot worse than mine. Mine, I could take it. I would get through it. But I wasn't necessarily like confident about her because I was worried that she would get it and that she would pass away because of her immune system. But thankfully, neither one of us got it. But it was not a good time.
Yeah, for sure.
Although now I'm starting to get a little bit worried because I'm hearing like about the measles and like
Thank you, RFK. Anyway.
Yeah. Anyway, next question. This one's from Mecha Dragon 101, and I'm also gonna lump Dari Gamers as well because it's basically the same question. How do you budget your money during a con between food and stuff you want to get? It depends on the convention. It depends on the time, like which season it is. Like if you know it's going to be a cold weather, obviously you want to bring hand warmers if you're going to be going outside. You want to make sure to have you want to be bundled up. Always bring your face masks if you know that you're not feeling great. But not to the point where you need to stay home, but just minor, wear a face mask. If it's major, stay home.
If you got a minor sniffle, like
big difference. Tenza.
But drinks like water or any other drinks that you need to hydrate yourself, snacks, just to give you a little bit of boost before you get a meal. Any like hand sanitizers, like bring napkins with you.
Yes.
And make sure to like, because obviously like when you go to the conventions, like obviously like you want to bring as much money as possible depending on how much you think you want to spend. You probably might end up spending a lot more money than you actually anticipate. So like in terms of
speaking from experience.
In terms of buying stuff, that's something you're going to have to self-control yourself. Like, you have to figure out if you have to have a set limit, how much you want to spend on, like, merchandise or, like, games or other stuff that you can buy at the convention. Like, budget on that. But there's no correct answer for this. It's just depending on where you are, when you're going, and the circumstances around you. So, and don't impulse buy. Don't impulse buy if you know you can't spend that much money.
So for budgeting, very much like Shellshock, it depends on the con and it depends on other factors. And I feel that a bunch of the tips he's mentioned is also going to apply for our next question. So enjoy that preview. The biggest thing, go on ahead and figure out. First off, can you afford to go? Take care of yourself with bare basics and be able to bail out in event of an emergency. I'm not going to shame anyone for going to a con if their finances aren't the best, but you need to be responsible. That's the biggest thing. So you need to figure out accommodations like hotel rooms, whether you're in the con block or not. Figure that out, and especially your share. If you are not the room organizer, make sure to pay your share as soon as you can. I'm usually the room organizer. I'm bad about reminding my friends to pay, not because I don't trust them or because I don't want them to or I want to hold it over, just because I feel bad asking for money. But anyways, so that, transportation, parking if as needed, and then obviously aside for food and essentials. And when it comes to browsing in the vendor's hall or artist alley, for me, it depends on the year. Like, there's some years where I'm really bad in there, and then there's other years where I hardly buy anything. I really didn't buy that much this past weekend. Yeah. And in some years, I've bought more in Artist Alley. That's usually where I buy more these days because that's more unique stuff and it's trickier to get. Vendor's Hall, not as much these days. Like, even I was the past several cons I've been at, I find I actually hardly look at some of the gaming selections they have because my collection is very much where I want it to be right now. So
Understandable.
yeah, so keep an eye for that. It's great to browse. That's not saying don't browse. Please, by all means, browse.
I sometimes browse the action figure booths,
Mhm.
just to see what there is, and I found a really cool Frankenstein's monster from the
Yeah.
old Universal horror movie for sale
One
for
of
like
yeah,
$35, and I'm like,
yeah.
okay, I'll take it.
Another thing I can really say, which has helped me a ton, and I hope this helps people here too, is figure out what can I only really get at this convention, or what's a decent deal to get here. What can I hold off on or get at a better deal later? And also browse around because, like, case in point, you might see some snacks or some figurines in the convention. Don't just instantly buy them because there might be another table later that sells it for cheaper. Case in point, at the con I was just at this weekend, there was a couple snack booths, and one of them was selling hot sodas. I love hot soda, and I pick it up to look, and it's $7. I can buy that for 4, maybe $5 from any other vendor, and it's just, are you actually kidding me? And then other snacks, which I have got for way cheaper in Japan, and I understand some of these things there's import fees on, but that markup was obscene. And I'm not even gonna lie. And then there's sometimes a figure where you might see a figurine for $70. Don't impulse buy it because you walk around later, you might find it for 50. And I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. We are in the day and age of you have a miniature computer on your phone. Your phone is no longer a phone, it is a computer. If internet signal is reasonable, which is not always at cons, and you see something, oh wow, that's a really cool figure. Let me see how much that's worth. I guarantee you're going to find it for less expensive elsewhere. And that's not me trying to steal business from anyone. This is me trying to make sure you get your best deal ethically as you can. I will be honest. There have been times where I'm like, oh, wow, I love that figure of that. Not sure about that price, though. I've literally found it on eBay, and I've purchased it as I'm walking past the booth. I didn't give that booth my business, but I budgeted for myself. And that booth helps me make an informed decision.
Yeah.
So,
I would.
Go on.
I was going to say that if you're like at a Comic-Con and there's certain celebrities you want to meet and such, if they have if you have the and they have good prices for their autographs, I would suggest like that maybe if they have you have the opportunity to maybe purchase an autograph in advance and have the QR code and everything they can scan. That way you don't have to worry about like.
That's really con dependent. Most cons don't have that.
Well, my local Comic-Con does that with certain celebrities.
Oh, wow.
If I may, that's usually more of a Comic-Con thing or a bigger con thing. It's not an anime con thing. So, and that's not me like.
But I'm just saying, if they have that as an option, that's a good way to help budget yourself accordingly as well. So you're not like.
I'll also say like be careful with the photo ops for some of those because sometimes the photo op like Jodie Whittaker. I went ahead and did her photo op. I was actually really unhappy with how the picture turned out because the camera lens was off or something. Later found out she's in Walk of Fame, and I got a better picture on my phone with her. But research that, and also for like any guest, make sure you know what their policy for autographs and pictures is. Budget for that, and prioritize. So like a couple of Dragon Cons ago, they had all the original voice actors for the 4 Turtles and April O'Neil. I'd met Rob Paulson years before. Yeah, I know Shellshock, and I made sure to get a picture with Leo because my favorite. But I was budgeting though, and I realized I'm just going to go on ahead and get just the autograph for everyone else. I could have also got the selfie combo, but that right there was $50 I saved and was able to put towards something else.
I understand the whole like meeting all the voice actors and stuff because I did something similar last year at Motor City Comic Con. They had a special booth of a number of the voice actors from the original X-Men cartoon as well as X-Men 97. And they also had a photo op thing with all of them. And I basically went around the booth getting all their autographs and everything. Unsurprisingly, Cal Dodd, the guy who played Wolverine, had the longest line.
Of course.
Of course he did.
Awesome guy, though.
But
he even had a set of Wolverine claws he had for photos. It was great.
But also,
really wonderful man, though.
Back on the main question with that. So again, make sure you have covered your essentials. So lodging, transportation, parking, food. Make sure you're covered for all of that. And then when it comes to merch, when you're in the vendor's hall, unless if it is a rare, and also for Artist Alley, unless if you know this is going to sell out, don't impulse buy. Just like Shellshock was saying, don't impulse buy. Hold off on it. Wait, because you might find something else you want or anything. Now, there's an amazing leather vendor, Crimson Chain. You might see them at various cons. Well, I believe it was my first MagFest. They had made a custom, one-of-a-kind leather-bound cover for Hyrule Historia, which included with the book. I bought that instantly. Apparently, some of my friends, because Zelda's my biggest fandom and my biggest interest, and then several of my friends had seen it and were all rushing to tell me, and then they were sad because it was gone, and they're like, no, I bought it. So I knew that was going to go, so I went ahead and got that, but I had also budgeted for it. I had enough money. And there's other times, like I saw a 64DD game in a couple mags ago. I don't have a 64DD. I wanted to buy it so bad, but I realizing, I can't do this. And another big thing to look at many items is like, oh, this is really cool. Ask yourself, what would I do with it? It's a very big question, because sometimes I can't tell you how many things I look. I was like, oh, that's really neat. I don't know what I'd do with it though. Also, if you are a collector like me, another thing I find really helpful is to limit yourself on what you buy. Now, what I mean by that, set a rule for yourself of, I'm only going to look for stuff from this series. So my rule of thumb is, unless if something really, really speaks to me, like it's really cool, I can't describe it. Just like, I need this in my life, and this isn't an impulse. Like, this is instinct. I know I need this. I've gotten some cool shit that way.
Yeah.
My biggest focus is I look for stuff which is Legend of Zelda, Splatoon, and Zombieland Saga. Those are my big focuses. Now, just because you slap a Triforce on it doesn't mean I'm going to buy it. I'll at least look at it, though. And there's other shows I love. Like, I love Sailor Moon, but I'm not buying every single piece of Sailor Moon merch. I've already done that. But check that stuff out, and again, see what you can support with the artists, because you'll get some really neat and unique stuff. And then for so many things, just use that as your chance to. And I've really honed that down the past several years. I feel it's gotten even better since I went to Japan, because I got all the merch I wanted there. I'll browse vendors, so I'll maybe get one or two things, but I'm mostly focused on artist salad. Even then, it really depends. Like, I only bought a trio of K-pop Demon Hunters prints at Katsu, and then I got one more this week. Yes, you do.
A lot of my friends in another Discord server are like, you need to watch this movie, Kevin. I'm like, I know,
Yes,
I will get around to it eventually. Just chill.
I actually didn't watch it until a couple months ago, and I'll say this, like, I wanted to see it, but I didn't want to watch it when it first came out. I'm glad I waited, but it's worth the wait. But
yeah, that's kind of how I was with Wake Up Dead Man, the third Knives Out movie, so I get it.
But again,
I waited till pretty much Christmas evening when everything had died down and everything, and I just sat there on the TV watching it on Netflix and eating my dinner.
To sum up, though, again, focus on getting there and staying there. Focus on taking care of yourself. Anything else is bonus, but set rules for yourself within that, so a moth doesn't fly out of your wallet the next time you open it.
100%. So Epic Man asks, what's your go-to essentials when going to conventions? Stuff like hand sanitizers, minifan, water map, etc. Yeah, pretty much all that. Minifan during the summer.
Absolutely,
yeah. It's like minifan with the summer, and then winter you have like hand warmers, or like just bundle yourself up. Even if you cosplay, get a cosplay where you can bundle yourself up.
Yeah, I'm from the South. To me, I'm
keeps me
here
nice
like
and warm when I'm out trick-or-treating with my nephew sometimes, wearing my 10th Doctor suit.
So I echo all of that. One note for me is that I have a backpack which is specifically my travel backpack. Like, I have
one of those too.
That they specifically stay in there. Like, I have the exact same wall charger and cables that I have at home, but it's a duplicate. It lives in my backpack, so that way I never have to worry about, oh, I need to get out of my bag, or oh no, I forgot it. Also, a couple of my other essentials, I stay in there, and I have a little checklist that I'll do before each con, like for the things that do have to migrate, like my laptop and my Switch 2. And so I have that backpack specific. This is the backpack I've taken to the UK. This is the backpack I've taken to Japan. This is the backpack that goes with me to every convention. It's the backpack that goes with me when I go home to visit my dad. So that, just with my base essentials, that's always a big one. Other essentials, my cosplay repair kit. I have multiple things at home, but I always bring, at minimum, a hot glue gun with extra sticks, multiple types of tape, florist wire, safety pins, and a myriad of other things. So I honestly need to update mine. I have more stuff here. And while cosplay repair has become a bigger thing at cons, you can't just rely on it, but I'll always bring at least some of that. Another one is my makeup kit, which my makeup kit, I have a specific box just for it, which I occasionally inventory and go through and change out. So I've got anything I need for any cosplay, like my different contacts, which I always make sure to re-soak, eyeliners, eyeshadows, my concealer, foundation, contouring tools. And then if I'm doing full body paint, I have a specific bag just for that. I also always bring a power strip, power banks, cables for those, and especially for the hotel, I always make sure I've at least got some drinks and snacks in there. So sodas, because that's my vice.
Yeah.
Gatorades or Pocari Sweat, uh, hydration powder, like for waters and keep up that water bottle. But I always make sure that I bring at least some beef jerky or other types of jerky, something salty to snack on, something sweet to snack on. There's various things for that. And then backup things which I need for a specific convention. But yeah, the biggest things, food supplies, makeup kit, cosplay repair kit, and then supplies for them. And I also always bring a very nice first aid kit because I am actually trained in CPR, first aid, the use of AEDs, O2 administration, and I'm a rescue diver. So I'm not expected to do this, but I've got it on me just in case. And like case in point, MagFest was off shift. But during the photo shoot, my manager calls me over because one of our cosplayers has fainted. And she's trying to call me to call con security. I'm like, I don't have that. You do that. I'm the trained to that. So I ran over and took care of her. She was fine, by the way. And well, she had taken a medication that she needed, but she didn't eat with that medication.
Oops.
This was one of those. She was fine. It was narcolepsy, but no, she was okay. And it was really funny though, because like once security got down there and I'm explaining to them, well, there was a medical got down there and I'm explaining to them what happened and why I responded. They just look at me and go, "Why aren't you with us?" I said, so I can be the first responder and then you get here so I can pass over. And they're like, "Yeah, you have a point." But yeah, just always making sure that you're ready for stuff. And if you realize you've missed something, see if you can get it later.
Yeah. Another thing I'd suggest you bring is like if you're at a Comic-Con particularly and you're going to get a lot of autographs, I'd recommend getting a folder with sleeves you can put them in, like, and keep it in your backpack.
Yeah.
Because I do
And
that. That way
you
that way you don't go put them in the backpack and they get all mangled.
Yeah, or at least something like whether a folder or a portfolio or something. And if you know you're going to get bigger prints, I used to have to fly for a bunch of cons. There's still like one or two I fly to now. If you can remember, please try to remember because sometimes I do and other times I forget. A poster tube. Bring a spare poster tube.
Yep.
So.
Yep.
And if you, and like I many times will make sure to have at least a con program book to keep autographs with me for that. So.
Yeah.
Oh, 100%. Just to have everything that you need, like multiple chargers. I always bring a bunch of chargers with me just to make sure that I'll always have enough power. Like even if your phone can last for a while, you never know when there's a critical moment where you really need your phone.
And especially with the way that convention centers are dead zones and they're going to sap your battery to look at. So I've always got chargers in the room. I always have power banks and make sure your power banks are charged up. This is not an essential for the list, but an essential thing to do. I want to make sure to mention. Make sure that you put your phone number on the back of your badge. So if you drop your badge, they can call you and return it to you. So this con that I was just at years ago, like 12 years ago, my badge fell off my costume. And because I had put my phone number on it, they called me and I was able to go get it.
I like that. I might have to do that.
Yeah, no. So what I always do on my badge is if I have space on the front to write, I'll put like either Mantle or one of my character nicknames. Like this. So this weekend I was mostly dressed up as Saki. So what I do for Saki is I write Saki in English and I draw a lightning bolt and then I write it in katakana because she writes her name in katakana. And on the back, I'll either put my first initial and last name or vice versa. This one I just put MantleFerox on. And then my phone number. But the biggest thing is whether your name's on it or not, at the very least, put one name and one initial and your phone number. Like, I don't care if there's not much good space on it. Find a way to make space, because you're gonna be a bit for a bad time if you drop your badge.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, it
I'll
really
remember
helps
that
out.
for future.
Yeah, and
'Cause
with
usually I
that,
just wear it on I just wear the lanyard and
no,
follow.
mine was on a lanyard too, but it fell. So no matter how secure it is on your lanyard or your clip, write your phone number, because you never
Right.
know.
You got
And
it.
with that, you might want to bring a Sharpie with you, because they've got Sharpies, but yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways,
I got
Yeah.
plenty of them in a little
that's one
cup
of my
over here
best
on my
ones.
desk.
Oh,
So.
and also, like, not as essentials, figure out ways that you want to connect with people. Like, have a note file ready to, like, add people's names or stuff. And what I do, I have a card page, it's like Linktree but better, because people want to follow on different socials. It's thanks to Cosplay is why I finally made an Instagram, even though I'm woefully behind in updating it. What I've done, because internet doesn't always work, I have basically taken a QR code of that web page and said, yeah, here's this. And people will scan that, and then they'll decide, whether they want Instagram or something else. So, and
Cool.
just stuff like that. Like, just things to connect, things to take care of yourself, and things for that. So, it also might be apparent with, it's like, many people you'll hear that, befriend someone who is a con mom.
Yeah.
They'll help you out. A couple of my friends, definition of con mom. I have been dubbed by many of our friends, I'm the con dad in our friend circle. So I'll still take care of you, just in the dad way.
Yes.
but
Fair
it's
enough.
that literally happened with the crew this weekend. Like, I basically adopted them all. Just funny, because Saki's the leader of Watch 2 and I wound up becoming their leader.
You're becoming the character.
Yeah.
So I am her, but yeah.
Yeah, see, the thing is, like, with me and, like, my friends, like, there's always going to be someone who have the responsibilities of being the con mom or the con dad, but but we do what we can to try to, like, get through the con equally,
Absolutely.
rather than, like, one person be the leader. Like, we like to do, like, things together.
Yeah, and I know that's not what I was saying, but yeah, no, it's like, I agree with that wholeheartedly. So to me, it's like, even if that is your archetype within the group, yes, everyone look out for each other.
Yes.
Everyone look out for each other. Like, I even have friends reminding me to eat, even though I'm usually the one taking care of it, because, like, and I don't mind that, because we're all looking out for each other, because that's what a family does.
Yes. Like, I for some people, I felt like I'm the big brother, but for others, like, I'm pretty much just, like, the one like a person that people could depend on, and there's always other people in the group that I could easily depend on more than a lot more. But at the end of the day, like, we just got to keep looking out for each other, because like, conventions are supposed to be where we all come together and enjoy the things that we love. So that's what it's really all about.
No, absolutely, and it's great to look out for people in general. Excuse me. Especially within your crew, and even just people who you're meeting for, they're like that person who fainted. Like, I didn't know them or their story, but I took care of them and was able to check in with their friend, and then them when they came to. And, like, so the funny thing with, again, the character I was dressed up as this week in Saki, like, she and another one of the characters, they're both basically like the big sisters of the group. And they still kind of have, like, that team mom and team dad vibe for them, but everyone still looks out for each other. And, like, even my new friends this weekend, they were saying, "Oh yeah, you're like our big sibling." I'm just, you guys are sweet, but it's just me being me. But in my friend circle, one of my friends, love her to death. She can get hangry at a moment's notice. So I've started to learn to be like, "Hey, should we get something to eat?" If I realize it's been a while, and that can usually help cut in before that. Like, even just those little subtle hints are good.
Yeah.
And then, on a different note, like, it doesn't even have to be with someone who you're close with. Like, Otakon 2014 was an extremely rough time for me, because of out of con stuff, which I'm not going to get into, but it was to the point where my friend was dressed up as Korra and I was Bolin, and I'm basically in tears over the way I'm being treated by my mother about something outside of the con, and I'm worried about my dad for something, and he's fine, by the way. And I'm just sitting there just, like, very not okay. The number of people who checked in on me, like, without being invasive, that goes back to saying about how cons are basically one big family. So, and, like, if you see a chance for that, do. Sometimes just being on standby can help.
Yeah, I remember one time, like a few years ago, when I was at Motor City Comic Con, I saw someone who was dressed in their fursuit because they were a furry, and they seemed kind of,
Real quick,
like
just because someone's in a
honored.
fursuit doesn't mean they're a furry.
Well, this particular person was,
Okay, because I'm
but
just
I
saying that
appreciate you. But I
yeah,
appreciate you correcting me.
no, I'm just
Um,
saying because I'm a fursuiter. I'm not a furry though. No,
this particular
sorry.
person was. I should have probably worded that better.
You're good.
Thank you for holding me accountable. But anyway, they seemed kind of despondent about something, and despondent. So I'm like, and I kind of walk up to him. I'm like, "Hey, you okay?" And yeah, I'm fine. I'm like, "By the way, love your persona. You just look absolutely brilliant." And they just brightened up after that, and they were like, "Thank you. I love your Doctor Who." And I'm like, "Thank you." So it was just a little
Fantastic.
exchange of pleasantries, and I didn't see them again after that. But hopefully I made their day. So
I'm glad to hear that.
yeah.
I
mean, and I have several friends in the furry community, and they're wonderful people. So that's another reason I made a beeline for them. Is just to say,
absolutely.
hey, you're valid. I think you're awesome.
It's like whether you decide to get a picture of someone or not, a simple compliment can go so far.
Oh yeah, I mean, and they brightened up. Like it was like just like a flower. Just when I told them I thought they looked great as their persona.
There's a guy who walks around MagFest in Katsu, and he's got a sign that says, "Your costume looks great, and so do you." He's so sweet.
Yeah, I had someone else once at a convention compliment my 10th Doctor outfit, and I took it as a compliment at the time. But given who it was now, I don't know if I should really accept. I should really accept it as a compliment anymore.
Accept the compliment and just ignore them.
Well, that person turned out to be Vic Mignogna, but
Well, okay, fine. I've been complimented by him before too. He fucking sang for me and my friend for a costume contest. We were the only Zelda group he sang for. I've been complimented by him too. Yeah, no, still take it as the compliment.
All right.
But fuck him in the neck with a rusty spork.
I will say this right now.
Well, this was like before even the news broke about him.
Doesn't matter.
Right. But I'll say this, in my personal experience, I've unfortunately have been in like one convention where he was a guest. Granted, I did not get anywhere near him. Yeah. But I'm at the point right now where if there's a convention and I find out he's a guest and I was originally planning to be a part of that convention, I'm not going.
I'm glad you mentioned that because look up Anime Matsuri, not to be confused with Matsuri-con. Matsuri-con is wholesome and wonderful, and I'd like to return to it if the convention center didn't screw them over on their dates and I can't go to it because it overlaps with Dragon. Anime Matsuri is an absolute shit show at event in Texas, and there was one year where not only was Vic Mignogna continuously re-invited back there, the one year that I had gone, because I'd already bought a badge, I didn't know this until after I'm getting there. The bastard invited himself to the con, and they let him there because Edward Elric's original Japanese seiyuu was there. He's like, "Oh, well, I need to be there." I still made the event worth it because they had a Sarah Mew performance. But no, and I'll just say this. Even before we learned the full truth of him, I have never had a bad experience with him. Doesn't fucking matter. He's still a sleazebag.
Exactly. And
he was horrific, especially at AWA. I never even touched him at AWA.
Yeah, I mean, there's another experience with someone who was famous, but that I could talk about. But it was outside of a convention. If you don't mind me sharing, Shellshock, it's your show.
Go right ahead.
Okay, cool. And I almost feel bad telling the story because the subject in question recently passed away. It was Nicholas Brendan. Xander from Buffy. May he rest in peace.
Oh yeah.
I hope he went peacefully and not painfully. I'll say that much, but about him. But there was one time in my last relationship, we went to a karaoke meet and greet with him and several other fans in New York because she lived in New Jersey, and it started off fine for a while, and then I realized I kind of had a little too much water to drink, so I went to the bathroom and did my business and all that stuff. As I'm heading out of the bathroom, I feel a hand slap my ass really hard. I whirl around, and it was Nicholas Brendan himself, and he was grinning like the Cheshire Cat, and he was like, "Hey, buddy, how's it going?" I kept it cool, and I said to him, "I'm doing fine. I just need to use the bathroom." He's like, "Cool. I need to go myself." So he just shuffled in there, and as soon as I sat down, I just felt really mortified. And here's the kicker. This karaoke meet and greet was being held at the Stonewall Inn in New York.
Huh?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
You know what I'm talking about.
No, I do. 100%. I definitely know what you're talking about.
His girlfriend was with him with him at the whole thing, but he had gone off to kind of do something. I don't know, but still, it was like, what the fuck? I mean, I've since ended that relationship because she turned out to be toxic, but I never told her about what he did because I don't think she would have believed me because she was just too enamored with getting to be in the same room as Nicholas Brendan. So, yeah.
Reminds me of the. Sorry,
I'm sorry, but I'm just confused. Like, how is this of all places allowed to be in the Stonewall Inn?
I have no idea. We were like on one of the top,
the
upper floors, though. We weren't on the bottom floor. We were like on one of the upper floors.
I'd say it's enough money talking, but unfortunate.
But it was something else.
Wow, what the fuck?
I'm so sorry.
And I'm like I said, he recently passed away, and
Whoa.
like I said, I hope he went peacefully and not painfully. But
I don't know. He would have deserved it.
Yeah, but
you might not say it, but I will.
I'm being as diplomatic as I can. I mean, but and I know I really shouldn't, but
Yeah, I understand where you're coming from, but I'm in the same wavelength in this with Mantle because I'm sorry. I was just taken aback.
I don't often tell this story to people because they're just flabbergasted. Even the most hardcore Buffy fans I've told, they were like,
yeah. But what happened, Mantle?
Just because there's that whole idea of don't speak ill of the dead. Fuck off.
Yeah.
Just fuck off. No. I'm sorry. Just no, I'm not sorry. If someone was shitty in life, why should they get protection because they're no longer living?
Exactly. Yeah, that's definitely.
Doesn't fucking matter.
Exactly.
Better charmless.
Case in point. Fuck everything about Hulk Hogan.
I'm in agreement. I was never. I dare I say it. I was never a fan of him to begin with.
And for the recent ones,
tolerated
Chuck
him
Norris.
in Suburban Commando because of Christopher Lloyd being there.
Yeah. The Christopher Lloyd's good. But
he's on the level. I met the man. He couldn't have been sweeter.
What happened?
I was just saying. Also, fuck Chuck Norris. I mean, as far as recent deaths go,
agreed.
It's so many people. There was one guy who was like, "Yeah, it's not really hitting me like it did in 2007." It's it's valid to keep those memories of memes and jokes. Doesn't mean that it wasn't a piece of shit.
Exactly, and
people show themselves. It's just. I mean, I appreciated the jokes back then. I'll be honest with you. I was always a part of me is like, why is this one man the one
I wanted the jokes to be about Bruce Campbell, not Chuck Norris. But
I mean, that would have been way better. But
that would have been a lot better.
A treasure.
Oh,
the great thing is that you can literally just insert his name and just change every single one of those.
Exactly. Like I would go as far as to say I kind of wish that Bruce Lee came back from the dead just to kick Chuck Norris's ass.
No, yeah, for real.
Amen.
Anyway,
but yeah, we can look at what people were, but we need to be full circle on that. So.
Exactly. Yeah. But I will say though that I actually posted in the podcast guest room like a long form video of like the entire timeline on Vic Mignogna, because if you haven't seen it, the whole thing, it's a very long one, but it's very interesting. Just there's stuff people know, but there were things that people did not know.
Or as me and my friends refer to him, Dick Mangina.
True.
Ah, beautiful.
True. All right, so next question. This one is from H Bomb and Friends. How do you decide which cons are worth your time and money and which ones aren't? Especially with cons you go to regularly. Is there a point of diminishing returns? That depends on the convention, and
absolutely.
That depends on the type of convention you're going to. I could tell you firsthand that when it comes to like conventions being worth my time and money, and which ones are not, I'll tell you which ones are definitely not worth my time and money. And to answer that question is, if you're gonna have a problematic guest on your like convention, I'm not going. That's not worth my time or money. If you are not going to have certain necessary precautions to keep people safe when it comes to like people getting sick and all that, I'm not going. Now here's another one that I'm going to bring up. If your convention is not worth the time of day for me, if you refuse to hold people accountable for being creepy motherfuckers. I say that because at the end of the day, cosplay is not consent. Going to a convention does not mean consent, because people are allowed to just be themselves at a convention. Do not be a creepy asshole. Do not go out of your way to make somebody feel uncomfortable, to make them feel unsafe to the point where they would never want to go back, because people will make others feel like they're not safe.
I'll have you know, I helped get someone at least temp banned from a con because of continued behavior.
Yes.
Absolutely on that. Now, I very much support that on the guest thing. And to me, if it's still a con that I'm invested in and is level for that, I'll still go, but I'm not going to spend any time with that one. But for me, for like how to decide which ones are worth time and money, the biggest thing is that the overall vibe of them. Like, if it's kind of like what Reggie said, if it's not fun, why bother?
Exactly.
And there are some cons which they're okay. I'll still go to them depending, but I'm not going to prioritize them. But others of just the vibe, like, again, the big 5 plus Zenkai that I mentioned. It has to be a life or death situation for me to not be there.
Yeah.
Like the only reason, or in the case of Neko, the only reason I wouldn't be there is if I'm in Japan, because NekoCon usually takes place in November, and November is a terrible month for me, so that's when I usually like to do my travel. It gets me away from everything. And it's been helpful so far. But the overall vibe of them, like if it's a good fun con, then oh fuck yeah, absolutely. And then there's the location, and that for the location of the convention, I don't mean proximity to me, but I mean like what the city itself is, as well as the venue. So I know that we have a later question about like distance and stuff, but no, for me, if it's in a decent city, and whether I know this city or not, oh heck yeah, and it's a good venue, because I've been at cons which have changed venues, and some cons which is like, why is this here? So I have to enjoy where I am at for that. Another really big one is, are my friends going? Again, I have gone and will go to conventions by myself. But if my friends are going, I'm much more likely to go. Like Otakon. I try to go to Otakon when I can. I had to take a break from it for a while for living further because it didn't make the cut for me. Because, again, my friends weren't always going. And this year, a couple of my friends aren't going for very understandable reasons, but they also don't begrudge any of us who are still going.
Yeah.
I want to go at least one more time, modify it a bit. So yeah, the vibe, location, which is the city it's in, and the venue. If my friends are going, kind of tapering in with Shellshock. Guests, like, are there guests that I'm interested in? Now, granted, guests are not necessarily what make a con for me, but they can help weight my decision. Like ZenkaiCon this past weekend, I was already leaning heavily towards going. And then when they announced that Caitlin Glass was going to be there and I really wanted to see her again, my good friend Princess Marie, like, messages me like, oh, I know you're coming to Zenkai now. And I'm just, why you call me out like that? It was like, I was already planning on it, but it's like, yeah, this helps. And then just anything like that. And I feel that there can be a point of diminishing returns if it's a con that you're going to just because it's there. That's more of a diminishing return. Like I said, like there's a General Comic-Con and Anime Con 2 miles from my townhouse. I'm not going to lose sleep if I ever miss that one.
Yeah.
But if I'm free, sure, I'll go to it. But make my time worth it. And then when I lived in Texas for a few years, that was like even the year that I went to 17 cons. Some of those, like, I made sure that my time travel was, like, my time traveling was worth it. But again, vibe, location, my friends are going, and the guests that they have there. And similar to Shellshock, if they're bringing in people who I really don't feel should be there, they better hope I hadn't bought my badge yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I
and
respect that.
and I also like how cons like can handle things. So, like if they realize, oh, this is a problematic guest, and they handle it correctly, they're gonna get credit for that. So, I see that Prince Charles has mentioned like, is it close to an airport? Like also like parking situation, hotel situation. Those are all valid too. And as someone who has had to fly to conventions, you have to consider the logistics of it. Like, is it reasonable to get to? And again, everyone's answer varies. Everyone's situation varies. Every con varies. Look at that whole package. It doesn't have to be some whole big endeavor, but basically, if it sounds like it's going to be a good time, make it happen.
100%. I just don't want to ever have to I don't want to ever have to go to a con where I'm gonna feel uncomfortable, or if any of my friends feel uncomfortable. But because the diminishing returns is if I feel uncomfortable at an event because there are people that are bringing bad vibes, like the most awful vibes possible. And the same thing goes for if something happens at a convention to the point where like you notice that there are staff that are just bullying like congoers, and to the point where like they have like power trips and all that. That's one thing.
Yeah.
I've seen that before. But at the same time, if I'm going to go to a con, I got to make sure my friends and I are safe and sound.
Yes.
Do you have
Safety is paramount. I get it.
Do you have anything you want to add, Kevin?
No, I think I agree with everything you've said. You know, and more often than not, I just for my criteria for because I mostly just go to Motor City Comic Con these days because it's just convenient.
That's
Living
fair.
in Michigan, but I just more often than not will like if I check the guest list frequently, and if it's someone there I've been wanting to meet for ages, then fuck, I gotta go. I mean, although there was one case where that didn't happen because Motor City Comic Con has two different events in the year, one in May, one in November. And last year, even though I went in May, I was tempted to strongly wanting to go in November last year because Alan Tudyk was going to be there, and I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, around the same time, my sister-in-law had to have surgery that weekend, so I had to basically either stay home and be hands on deck to kind of help her with with things and recovering and stuff, be one of the people around the house helping her out with recovering, or go to the convention. And as much as I wanted to meet Alan, I figured helping to take care of my sister-in-law was more important.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, and another thing with that is like if there's a con that you really want to go to, and you especially the biggest reason you want to go is a guest, and you find out that guest is canceled.
Yeah.
I've been there.
Yeah.
But I'm just gonna say this: if you've not bought your ticket, figure out if you still want to go. If you have bought your ticket, I can understand wanting to cut your losses and try to trade it. If you're able to, sure. But honestly,
I hadn't bought my ticket yet, but I was on the verge of it until I found out my sister-in-law needed to have surgery.
Exactly.
So
yeah, very good. Yeah, exactly what I was saying. My other big thing though is if you have, whether you've already bought your ticket or not, though, if you still really want to go, still consider going, because while guests are fantastic, one guest should not be the end all be all for the there like everything else.
Well, there were other guests there I wanted to meet as well.
Exactly.
But
no.
I'm the pinnacle.
No, I understand that, but that's what I'm saying is like, even if that's the pinnacle, figure out if you could still make something of it if you want to. And sometimes you can, sometimes you don't, and that's fine.
Yeah,
Again,
I
every
couldn't
concept
at that point because they
absolutely
needed as many hands on deck as possible to help
and
my
that's
sister-in-law
and that's
recover.
very much that situation. But I'm saying, let's say status quo, everything's great, everything's roses and sunshine and sparkly rainbows. Then that's when you can make your call that way. And it's like, who knows? You might go and have an unexpectedly good time.
Yep.
There you go.
Again, conventions are very
have fun. You might have a little bit of accident.
the biggest thing with them is that conventions, yes, there's a lot of outside factors, but on the whole, conventions are what you make of them. And if you come in with that positive, optimistic attitude, I guarantee you that outside of very bizarre circumstances, mostly beyond your control, you're going to have a great time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, most of my con experiences have been great. It's just that aforementioned incident with Nicholas Brennan that happened outside of a convention was decidedly not. So.
All right, so since Dari's question was pretty much like lumped in with Mecha Dragons, I'm gonna go to Professor Ice Picks next. What was the worst convention you ever attended and why? So
Alamo City Comic Con. Sorry.
well,
Through you, Shellshock. I'm just ready on that.
Go ahead. You go ahead and tell your spiel.
All right.
Spiel then.
So I'm gonna bring up two. One took place in 2013 and the one took place in 2012. I'll go with the 2013 one first. So I alluded to it, like, while yes, I had a really nice highlight, like being able to like winning the Wii U and everything. But that year was a very awful year. Because like that was when like my friend group was starting to, like, at least the friend group of that time was starting to implode for a multitude of reasons. Because so for context, like, all because of someone who I am no longer friends with right now, was not invited to it started off, we went to a friend's place. And that person was not invited, but they were still tagging along, thinking they were when they weren't. And then that led to some drama, and that was in the middle of it because both sides were trying to like stir the pot, and that was dragging in the middle, which I never asked to be. And then it kept going in for the next couple of weeks, where there was a lot of back and forth BS going on. And it actually bled into that Comic-Con. Like that Comic-Con was kind of where everything culminated there, because it was also around the time when Pokemon X and Y was launching, because Comic-Con happened around the time when Pokemon X and Y launched worldwide. They were doing a big worldwide launch, and
basically,
yes, so Nintendo New York was like not too far from it. And there was line drama, because what happened was that there were people within Monster Hunter NYC, who was a group at the time. And like they were waiting in line, and then I remember there was this one girl who was first in line, but people were claiming she cut the line. I don't know for certain, because I was not within that line to really know. I've only heard like he said, she said, and it was at a point where they had to restart the line, and then they all got there way before she even got a chance to get there. They pretty much bullied her off the line, but and it got to a point where one other person who used to run a group in New York City called Street Pass NYC. He went out of his way to like try to defend her, but then there was this other guy who was talking, and this other guy, like there was this like Russian guy who Russian Ukraine. I'm not sure if he was Russian or Ukraine, but yeah, either way, he's one of those like macho guys who thinks that like he could say whatever the hell he wants and get away with it with no consequence. And he was starting some bullshit, because both of them, they were already not on good terms with each other, and they were feuding with each other, and they bled into that. And I happened to be in the fucking middle of this shit. I never asked to be in the middle, and then they both expected me to take their side. I didn't want to take either side, because fuck both of them. Both of them were awful pieces of shit. And one of them, like, I was an admin for, like the other guy, not the Russian, for back when Street Pass NYC was a thing. And this guy, this guy was a piece of shit. He was a narcissistic piece of, you have a narcissistic piece of shit on one side and a narcissistic piece of shit on the other side. Both of them went out of their fucking way to just get into like a fucking high school drama bullshit. And there were people taking sides. I did not want to fucking take sides. Or at least either one of them. They were not worth taking sides for. And yet, it's got to a point where, like, I just had to fucking distance myself from these people, like these two people, because they did not know when to fucking grow up.
Yeah.
And it bled into the line. Like, granted, like, they avoided each other until Comic-Con, like, because there was a Street Pass panel, which I was originally going to be a part of it, but then I had to step aside for another person instead, which I was like, okay, sure. I didn't really care. And it got to a point where after the panel, the both of them, like, just got into this huge fucking confrontation, and there were multiple people within the group just watching it. I didn't fucking say shit. Granted, the Russian, like, apologized to me for because he accused me of taking the guy's side. I wasn't, and he had later apologized to me for that. But I personally, like, did not accept the apology.
Of course,
and
understandable.
And it got to a point where they were still trying. They were supposed to settle things, but they both still kept going at it with each other. Then they had an agreement where they had to fucking back off, like, months later. All because, like, these two people don't know when to shut the fuck up. And I still see. I don't. And then, like, the guy, like, who ran Street Pass NYC would later step down years ago. I was still there because I was honestly playing a long game because I knew he was going to leave at some point, because I didn't know when he was going to leave, but people were leaving. No one wanted to be a part of the group. For 2 years, 2.5 years, there wasn't anything regarding the group, regarding any fucking, like, meetups. And then, like, around the time when the Switch was coming out, I wanted to bring it back. And then, right when he stepped down, like, so I brought Switch and Play NYC back with MMG Mike and Silverstone Connor. We had a couple other friends as well. We had a great time afterwards. But I'm just gonna say, I fucking, like, just hate people who don't know when to fucking grow up when it comes to high school drama, especially at cons. Don't fucking involve people when they never asked for it. Okay, never fucking do that. Sorry for being heated, but that's a memory.
No, you're good.
You have every right to be.
No, we appreciate it, and I appreciate you sharing that, my dude. Like, seriously. Like, I'm sorry you had to deal with that.
I deactivated my Facebook, but I remember one of the last things that I posted on Facebook, because I had to tolerate this person because he was still friends with some people. I personally did not really give a fuck about this guy. But I'll say this. I remember, like, making a post about, like, the last thing I made a post about on Facebook is that if with everything that's going on in the world, if you're okay with everything that's going on in the world, I want nothing to do with you. And then, like, I pretty much just fucking, like, I was just done. I was fucking done with Facebook because of this guy.
I feel you.
Like,
the biggest reason I keep the damn thing are because of cosplay and because I had one of the original accounts back when it was only for some colleges. But I feel you, man.
Yeah. And then in 2012. There was an event where so we were at New York Comic-Con that year. The con pretty much got ruined for me because there was someone who is another person. He wasn't necessarily my friend at all, but he was more barely an acquaintance.
Someone you knew.
Someone I knew. He was part of the friend group at first, but he was always very clingy, very annoying, always full of himself. But his personality got worse later on. But anyway, so
I know those.
So this guy, he claims to be the man of science and everything, and we were playing Kid Icarus Uprising. That was the big game for the 3DS. In 2012, like, at New York Comic Con, Nintendo had a booth where they had Kid Icarus tournaments. They had tournaments for other games, and he lost his bag that had his 3DS and Kid Icarus cards in it, all because he left it thinking that somebody was watching it. Nobody was watching it. Everybody was just doing their own thing. He never asked anybody to watch it. He just left it there, assuming somebody was going to watch it. Dude, you're supposed to ask somebody, can you do me a favor and watch this for me, please? And then, like, he didn't do that. So that was his fault. Granted, he managed to get it back because, like, he wanted me to prioritize my, like, the entire convention experience, because there were some people I haven't seen in a while that I wanted to catch up with, but he wanted me to prioritize my con experience helping him out. And I did. And I did not get a fucking thank you. None of us got a thank you. He was just happy he got his stuff back. Because the person who gave it back was the girlfriend of the person who found the stuff. And he's a fucking prick. Turns out he's a fucking scalper. Turns out like he likes to cause a lot of drama. He's a fucking creep.
Lovely.
But yeah.
Scalpers are the worst.
Yeah.
Or some of the worst anyway.
Yeah, so those things. So those were two.
Yeah.
Go right ahead if you want to talk about yours.
I've been extremely fortunate. Like pretty much every single one of my cons I've been to, all 138, pretty much every single one has been good. It's like anywhere from that was something to oh my god, best weekend ever. And I'm still coming off the high of like one of my best weekends. And just I'm giddy because it also just reminds me of older cons like back in the day. Like I mean, cons are still great today, and I feel they've only improved, but just that little bit of nostalgia you've got there too. But the I know that I was absolutely gonna let you go first, but I had to like jokingly quip when you first asked the question. The worst one I've ever attended was Alamo City Comic-Con. If you're ever in Texas, go to San Japan. Do not touch this piece of shit sorry ass excuse for an event. Before I get into it, like I actually had left early because my ex-partner that weekend was dealing with some stuff, and I was worried sick about them because they crashed out on me the previous week at Dragon Con. I paid twice what I should have on a plane ticket and flew to their city and surprised them to take care of them. And then they later was like, oh, I don't have a relationship in me, and I'm just bullet dodged, short story. But basically, I was in the city that I was in San Antonio at the time, and even though I lived not too far from the convention center, I'm a cosplayer. It's usually easier to stay at the hotel. So after work, I drove over, got myself set, but I didn't check into the hotel yet. I went on ahead, ready to go check out the con before going to the hotel since they were connected. My first red flag was this was not a badge con. One of the biggest things you could piss me off for a con, especially if you're of a certain size, is wristbands. Don't be fucking cheap. Like, and no, fuck wristbands. I'm not sorry. No, wristbands should be used for like 18 plus panel access and stuff, not for the entire weekend. And like those two dinky cons here close to me, so they are wristband cons, but again, I go because they're right there. But if you get the VIP badge, you get a badge. But again, like wristbands are just. This was also stupid because I was planning the next day of the con. I was going to cosplay Anger from Inside Out, and for that, I'm wearing a whole Zentai suit.
Nice.
I already have the wristband on. How am I supposed to cosplay with this fucking wristband? So I already had a sour taste from that. Also, their registration was horrifically misorganized, and this was in 2015, by the way. This is on the con's third year, but the numbers they're posting for their growth is just whoa. How is this growing so fast? Because I'm going to go ahead and tell you, San Antonio is a nice city. Texas sucks, but San Antonio is pretty decent, especially the food. Alamo's overrated, though. Don't ever waste your time.
Good to know.
The people in San Antonio, though, don't go out to spend money. They just don't. And that's fine. But the numbers didn't make sense. So registration's a shit show. I have a wristband. I already have a bad taste in my mouth. And I decided to go ahead and start walking the DashCon.
DashCon. Oh, God.
So real quick, 2014, I was at KatsuCon the weekend that DashCon happened. By Sunday, so literally the day after this happened at DashCon, someone was cosplaying the ball pit.
Oh, man.
So, yeah, no. If anyone shits on Katsu, may I remind you that they were dunking on DashCon the weekend, less than 24 hours after that happened.
Wow. Holy fuck.
That's crazy.
Oh, there's a wonderful video about that I need to find for you guys. But anyways, so I start going around the merch hall. And for those who've been to enough cons, the way that the expo hall or vendors hall or marketplace or whatever the fuck they call it varies from con to con. I will flat say I do enjoy Comic Cons. I vastly prefer anime and or gaming cons. I like the layout of them better. I don't like everything in one big hall. It just feels artificial and bloated and very just hey, give us money. But it's mostly just I don't like the vibe of it. Like I'll still go, I'll still enjoy, but it's but I'm start walking around. First off, the layout is weird and it feels weirdly not a number for what they're saying it is. And I start talking with a bunch of the vendors and people who have the art tables, and I'm learning from them a whole lot. It is to call the event a snafu would be a gross understatement. Like the way that they were so disorganized about even getting their damn vendors in was ridiculous. It was so disorganized. People didn't know their ass from a hole in the ground. And
Ouch.
oh, I found out why the attendance was so large in 3 years. Because Alamo City Comic-Con uses the turnstile counting method. For those who don't know what that is, let's say
Enlighten us.
that I'm an attendee and I've just gone in with my dinky little wristband. Oh shit, I gotta go get something outside. So I've counted as one person with my dinky little wristband. I go get outside, I come back in. I've counted as another person. Oh, I have to go let my friend in. Come back in. I'm another person. Oh, I need to go get food. Come back in. Or like if you've got someone who's a vendor who goes in and out for however many smoke breaks or whatever, basically every time you enter, they're counting you as a person. And they didn't understand why that was just stupid. And a whole bunch of other just generic mind-blowing stuff I heard from the RSAblers like, yeah, we're just here because we know we can make money, but I don't like the way they're treating us. I circled the base part of the expo hall once. And remember, I've not checked into my hotel yet, and I originally had it set for 2 nights. I walk in there, and thankfully the lady recognized me from a previous event I'd been at, say in Japan. And she's like, I was like, hi, yes, I'd like to check in, but I'd also like to modify my reservation for 1 night. I realize that it's unlikely, but I have a family emergency, and well, I was going to go visit my partner at the time. Normally, they would have still charged me. She's like, oh, absolutely. So I cut my hotel stay short because I was so disappointed just in the layout, and then like just mismanaged up the wazoo. And I compared to like other con horror stories, it's not even that bad, but it's just not well run.
Oh God.
And I'm just gonna
Sounds like a
hesitate.
nightmare.
Just because you live in or near a city where there's a con does not mean you have to go to it.
Exactly.
I'll say this: if I lived in Atlanta, I'd still go to Animazement every weekend. Fuck that other convention. But which I was mentioning that in the chat earlier. But yeah, and I said it's not the worst one I've ever been at, but I did go to Anime Matsuri. Sorry, no, Anime Matsuri in Texas, which is the one where Dick Mangiani invited himself to, and I had fun there. But the lax attitude, even for safety and security, because there were people like sitting up in windows where they could have fucking fallen. And I mentioned this to cons, they're like, "Oh, it's fine," and I'm just, no, it's not.
No.
Not very OSHA compliant either.
For real. But anything else has been just mishappenstance with getting sick or it's just events. But yeah, the worst one really was just Alamo City Comic-Con, just because it was so poorly run. But I'm very much that person who, even outside of like really frustrating or upsetting events, I'm not going to let that ruin a con. From like my first KatsuCon, I didn't realize I was going to until last minute. That was the first and last time that I ever joined one of those, hey, looking for roommates. The disclaimer, those can be helpful, but vet who you would be staying with. The person who organized that room, she was fantastic. I would room with her again. The kids, and I don't mean that affectionately, that she had in that room, they brought their drama. They brought their drama everywhere. Like 2 of them were a couple and were having a fight. They were also underage, and one of them got drunk and angry and had a fight. And she stormed off, and her boyfriend was so upset and stressed out from this that he went into the bathroom and started smoking in a non-smoking room. And I'm like, dude, what the actual fuck? And they were still arguing the next morning. I'm like, if there is a cleaning charge, you are fucking paying the person who organized this. I basically, after that, is like, nope, I'm in with my friends. But again, even that, I still had a great time, even if the room was shit. Every Katsu's gotten better since then. But yeah, just the worst one was Alamo City Comic Con. So again, if a con is poorly run, I'm not saying I'll never go to it again, but chances are slim.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Kevin?
Honestly, a lot of my convention experiences have been pretty pleasant. I've only had to really stay at a hotel once for a convention, and that was when I was in my last relationship, and we went to AwesomeCon in DC. So, yeah, and we went for 2 days, and it was the only time I went for a convention for more than 1 day. So,
Mm-hmm.
we went 1 day, and we did a few things there. Then we came back to the hotel and kind of just chilled and and all that stuff. And then we went back the next day, and then we went back to her house. Drove back home, like that day after the convention was over. So I haven't had any kind of real horror stories, to be honest.
Yeah.
Like I said, I've got horror
I guess I
stories
dodged
of
the bullet
events.
in many respects.
Oh no, you have. Like I said, I have horror stories of individual events, but none of them colored the entire convention. For me, it's more like, well, here's a footnote, or just kind of it's I don't know what's the term I'm looking for. It's the challenge that we have to overcome in the story of it, but everything else is great.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a little bit moment of cringe at the convention, but that's the worst of it happened, really. And that
No
was when I
such
was
thing
at an
as
autograph
cringe.
booth.
Be free.
Yeah. Like
Well, I could tell the story if you want.
I'm teasing.
It's fine,
Okay.
but
Okay, fair enough. I don't want to take over the podcast, as it were. But anyway,
it's all good. It's all good.
But the autograph, I was at the autograph booth, and it was for John Barrowman.
Mm-hmm.
He was actually still pretty nice, at the time. This was before that whole kerfuffle
Everything
that came out. Yeah,
Yep.
everything came out. That all came out. But I mean, I still think he's still a decent enough guy, but he's just got to work on himself a bit. But anyway, we went. We had gotten a photo. My girlfriend at the time and I had gotten the booth. Got a photo op with him and everything. And then we went to it. We had gone to his autograph booth and everything. At the convention, he kind of let his gray hair show a bit more. And I thought he looked pretty nice with it. And I was like, and I said to him, I'm saying this as a straight guy, but you look like quite the silver fox there with your hair like that. And he's like, oh, thank you. And then his husband happened to be at the booth with him, and let out a faux exasperated sigh, like, ugh. And he said loudly, have you converted another one, John?
Huh?
Yeah. So, and we had a bit of a laugh about it, but in hindsight, kind of cringe.
Yeah.
So
let's see. Going with the next one. This one is from Dragonflame. What is your dream convention that you have wanted to attend but still haven't yet for one reason or another? Well, I've been to PAX East, but I would love to go to PAX West. However, if I have to think of what is my number one dream convention, MagFest.
Yep. I'm with you on MagFest. Never been. And I've never been to PAX East either, even though I have friends in Massachusetts who've said they'd be more than happy to have me stay with them if I come to see it.
Yeah.
So those two are definitely on my list, although I have two other ones I could mention as
well. Yeah, one of my friends told me that if I go to MagFest, there's one restaurant that they want me to go to more than anything, and that restaurant is Nando's.
Oh, Nando's.
Is that like an Indian place?
No, it is.
It's Hispanic.
No, it's It's Portuguese with a Jamaican flair.
Yeah,
that's good. I try it.
It's good. It is a chain. It is worth going to. There's actually one only a few miles from me here. They're good. Not the end all be all, but especially if there's not one near you, yeah, no, absolutely go there. And fuck, I'll take you there, Shellshock. But
I would love to go. Yeah.
But yeah, seeing everyone in the chat talking about MagFest and DragonCon, which are two of my big three, like those two plus animes, it just makes my heart happy. It's like, yeah, those are mine. There's not really any. I've been really fortunate. Like I've hit the lottery on my cons. I think the only one that would be a dream event for me. I know it's a completely different vibe, but I would love to go to one of the Comic-Cons in Japan.
Ooh.
I know that again that the cosplay rules and scene are very different there, but I feel there's still some characters I could do justice for within that, and I would like to go and experience. And again, I know that in many ways American cons are just more fun. And and more loose with that. But both are great in their own way. I'd like to experience that. I'd like to go to Anime Boston sometime because some of my friends live up in Massachusetts and that's their big con, but because it keeps rotating when it is, I've just never been able to make it. But so that would really be it for me. But again, I've pretty much already attended and always attend my dream cons. And again, if I have to just pick my top two, it's Animazement and MagFest. So
Yeah.
I'll just go ahead and flat say that if anyone ever has any questions about any of those, especially ones that you're looking to go to that I've mentioned, feel free to DM me. I'm in Shellshock server, obviously. Feel free to ping me. I will happily chit chat with you. Yeah, Dragon Con. Footnote:
That's another one I want to go to.
I am actually an Eternal member for Dragon Con, so I do have an Eternal badge. Note for that: I got it before they were stupidly priced, because I knew the price was only going to go up, and I got it the one and only year that it was that price tag. So what that means for Eternal badge is that I have a membership paid for Dragon Con that this badge lasts either until Dragon Con dies or I do, whichever comes first. So for the past few years, my badge has been paying for itself.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
But it is worth it. I will say, Dragon Con is massive. It is not a con for everyone, but there's something for everyone there. And again, even as the outgoing introvert who has the extra social battery at cons, I treat it as an oversized hangout con. That's my biggest thing with it. But something for, as we all know, we've all been discussing both here as well as in the chat. Every con has something for everyone. So
yeah. But there's two conventions I've been really wanting to go to sometime and one of them is actually slowly winding down, unfortunately, and that's Gallifrey 1, which is a Doctor Who convention.
Mm-hmm.
I really want to go there sometime, and but I just haven't had the chance to because it's outside of Michigan, and I'm nervous about going by myself. So I'd have to find like maybe a group of friends. Oh, good, someone recognizes Gallifrey 1 in the chat. Thank you, Prince. And then the other one is also tangentially related to Doctor Who, and it also is out of my home state, and it's Big Finish Day in England, which is for the people Big Finish Productions who make the Doctor Who audio dramas I like to listen to. And I would love to meet there's several people I'd love to meet at Big Finish Day that don't go to conventions here in the States. Like apparently Tom Baker goes there on occasion, even though he's like 90 something now. And several other English actors I've been fans of for years. There was one of their regulars I wanted to meet, but unfortunately he's dead now. Is David Warner. But so what are you gonna do? So yeah, I'd love to. But yeah, so and yeah, and then thank you, Prince. I'm in Shellshock server as well. So if you want to DM me, DM me. We'll talk, but yeah, those are the two big ones that are out of state for me that I'd love to go to, that aside from the more popular ones. So,
yeah.
So, like Big Finish Day and Gallifrey 1. So.
Yeah. Let's see. Sona asks, how far away from home do you go for cons usually? Are they mostly local or out of state or otherwise? I've been to some states, like some different states for conventions, like that are like far away. The furthest I've actually have done was Origins in Ohio, but again, like I said, it was mainly because it was attached to a Pokemon TCG tournament I went to those years. But other than that, it's been mainly going to Boston, going for PAX East. But at some point, I would love to go to DC. I'd love to go to MagFest, and I hope that I would make it happen. But the thing is that my brother also goes to MagFest, and the only way for both me and my brother to go to the MagFest at the same time nowadays is if I can get somebody to come over to my place to watch my mom. That's the only way I can make that happen. Otherwise,
I understand.
It would have to be one or the other, and my brother loves MagFest, so I would prioritize him going because he loves it. He's gone like multiple times. I have not, and I want to fix that.
Me too.
Yeah. So, what was the furthest that you've been to go to a con, Mantle?
Yeah, and I'm just compiling a list of the states I've been to, and I literally just finished that up. So for me, how far away from home do I go for cons usually? I'm in the Mid-Atlantic. So for me, most of my cons range from anywhere between 5 minutes away to 10 hours away. The furthest I've gone was when I was living in Texas or the Midwest. I was flying back east for cons. Right now, the furthest I go is Dragon Con, which is 10 hours by car or a quick flight. Yeah, I was flying from either city in Texas or in the Midwest to DC for MagFest, well, to DC, and then going down to Maryland for MagFest and Katsu. For those who don't know, MagFest is not, or in Katsu, they're not in DC. They're on the Maryland side of DC. And if you're driving up north, you're literally on the bridge. Oh, hi, Washington Monument. Oh, there's my exit. You're back in Maryland. But basically, I have had the great opportunity to go to cons in 12 different states or cities. So I've been to conventions in North Carolina, Virginia, Washington, D.C., Maryland, Georgia, Pennsylvania, Texas, Florida, Missouri, Kansas, West Virginia, and Ohio. So I've flown for several cons, and again, because my friends were there and I wanted to go and all that. But yeah, so for me, most of my cons are going to be within driving distance. The majority of them are anywhere between 30 and 3 hours driving distance. And if they're not in my state, they're next to my current state. Again, for those who don't know, I don't specify which state I'm in for the internet. I'm just in the Mid-Atlantic, and that, I mean, we could pull the Batman.
I probably should do that. But
do you have any idea how little that narrows it down? So
exactly.
Fair.
But yeah, so for me, it's usually, can I make this an easy trip, which also my new friends this weekend were teasing me because they live like 10 minutes from the convention, whereas me, I live 5 to 6 hours depending on the drive. Like, again, I left a con a little bit after 1 o'clock, probably like hit the road around 1:30, pulled up here at like, after stops at like 7:15, ready to go. So, and they were like, oh my gosh, you're a trooper. I'm just, it was worth it. But yeah, so for me, so for, are they mostly local, out of state, or otherwise? There's a few I go to that are local. Again, most of them, they're either slightly out of state or state adjacent.
Yeah.
So, but the biggest thing really is, it's more of who's going to them and what the con is, but also like adding that travel to it, kind of like we were saying earlier, just adds to that adventure.
Yeah. I mean, the furthest I've ever really gone was when I was still in my last relationship, when we went to AwesomeCon in DC. So that's about it, really. I mean, I had been to Philadelphia before, so we had gone to the Great Philadelphia Comic Con and such.
Yeah.
But
and while I prefer to drive to cons, flying's not bad, and I have got it down to an art to have an entire weekend's worth of everything across 2 suitcases and 2 carry-ons.
I'm still working on that.
Yeah. At the end of it, it's just a matter of like, again, like we said earlier, like there's always going to be logistics regarding these things. But if I can make it work to go like to a different state that's far away, I'll definitely do it. So Kyle Gamer asks, if you could run your own panel at a con, what would the panel be about? Well, since I've had multiple experiences, I will say if I wanted to do something different, I actually wanted to do a group top 10.
Nice.
Like, I would do group top 10s. For example, top 10, here's a big one. Top 10 Nintendo Switch games.
That's cool.
And the way we would do it is we'll nominate the games. We'll nominate like any game we could think of. We'll probably be limited, like depending on, I would say maybe like 10 to 15 games per person, but we cannot nominate the same game, because if we nominate, like what we would do is like just name drop any Switch game you want. And then afterwards,
even if it's like a remake, like The Link's Awakening?
Yes, even if it's a remake of Link's Awakening.
Okay,
and then what we do after that is we start crossing off the list until we get to the top 10, and then we start making the order. But we would have to do it really fast to accommodate the 1 hour time limit.
Yeah,
but,
makes sense.
But which is why, like, if we prepare ourselves with like the games, and we also look in advance like over like which games we're gonna choose so that we don't pick the same game. Like for example, like let's say I pick Metroid Dread and Mantle picks like The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, for example. Stuff like that. Or Skyward Sword. And what game would you have chosen, Kevin?
Shellshock knows me though, and he knows three.
Because I've got so many Switch games that I've played lately. Honestly, in terms of games I've been playing recently, I probably mentioned Dragon Quest VII Reimagined.
Sounds good.
I'm really enjoying that, and I've also been enjoying watching my brother play it on his PlayStation 5. So, and seeing how he responds to it, because I used to watch him play the original PlayStation version when I was growing up. So I'm mostly watching him play just to see how he reacts to some of the changes. Like I watched him play the HD 2D remakes of Dragon Quest 1 and 2. He decided to go through 2 different playthroughs of Dragon Quest 1 for no other reason than because he wanted to see how different it is when you're carrying the princess around in Dragon Quest 1.
Oh yeah.
And as I was watching it, I was more convinced like, okay, this should be the canon version of events of Dragon Quest 1 because the princess actually helps you in battle sometimes with healing you and stuff like that. It's actually really cool. But anyway, I'm getting off topic. But still,
yeah, we kind of did too. But sorry.
So for me, even though I've mentioned the panels that I've been on and have helped run, I've had a couple of ideas for panels knocking around for a while. I just hadn't submitted yet, and I might submit one of them this year. And if not, I'll do it. And I keep saying this for years now. Honestly, I'm in a better position than ever to do one of these. And I literally just came up with a new one while we were sitting here. Like my longest running idea I've had for like over a decade has been why older fans should still attend cons, because I have found so often many of my friends, especially I'm older than I look, and many of my friends are older than me, and a couple of them have been like, oh well, I'm not sure if I should keep going. It's like I've had some friends who they've just fixated on Dragon Con, and I'd met them in amazement and they drop out from it. I'm like, but why? And now, hilariously enough, it's come full circle because now one of those friends is like, oh yeah, no, I do love this, and like literally the only reason that she'll miss an amazement now is if she's leaving elsewhere for something. Which is fine. But so I mean, it would basically be something of like why older fans should still attend cons, and just not to get into the whole panel because I'm still working on it. But the ideas for that is like, I mean, sometimes as you get older, you start to realize, well, this isn't the same thing I remember it, and then you'll start to conflate what you're feeling in that moment with the whole experience. And my advice for that would basically be like, hey, why should you still do this? First off, biggest things, we're the ones who started these cons. We're the ones who started going to them. Why should we stop just because we're getting older? If you're genuinely not having fun, and nothing can fix it, then fine. Go do something else. You do you. That's fine. I hope you enjoyed the time you had, even if it's not what you want to do anymore. That's fine. But another thing, too, is that, and this goes for anyone of any age at a con, change your lens. Maybe you want to try doing different things. That could help you find a newfound everything with it. Like, I've loved staffing a couple cons now. And again, I used to do a lot of competitions. I will still do competitions, but it's not my priority now. I bounce around and do that. Some people have never really checked out panels. Maybe check out panels. That could be just try
out a few panels.
Exactly. Try something different. You might find a new life in it. Another reason is because this is still stuff you enjoy. You should still be able to go to a place where you can enjoy that. And also, we need to be able to teach the younger con goers how to behave at cons. Because I started going to cons back in the glomping days with yaoi paddles. So, yeah.
As an uncle to an 11-year-old who's been keen on wanting to go to a convention sometime, I get it.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, but basically, and so whether it's with the younger kids who are going or just new baby anime weebs, they need to come and go. And also, by us being there, we help teach them, whether directly with helping them with stuff, if we see it's like, hey, I get what you're trying, but, or even just simply presenting a good example, because ultimately humans, very much like our relatives, which is monkey see, monkey do. So if they see you behaving a certain way, they're more likely to emulate you. And even if not everyone does, the more people who are doing that, you're going to be able to have that example there. Like I said, as far as like helping course correct with that, I was at a larger comic convention in Florida one year, and I'm in line for a celebrity who I really wanted to see, and there was a group in front of me, and they were geeking out, and someone came over and take a picture of them, and there's this guy next to me. I can tell he is socially awkward, regardless of any mental wiring he has. That's fine, but I'm being nice and civil with him. Kind of like, you know, that balance where it's like you don't mind the occasional thing, but then you're also still like, just let me read. I don't want to deal with people right now. The picture's there. The people are getting that picture. He then turns to me, he's like, oh, I should have tried to jump behind them and maybe photobomb. And I said, okay, no. I get that you wouldn't mean any harm with that, but how would you feel if you really wanted this picture and someone you didn't know just suddenly does that? And basically, I wasn't lecturing him. I wasn't yelling at him. I wasn't angry. I just said, hey, I know you meant no harm, but let me offer some perspective. And I basically taught him that, and that actually opened up a whole big conversation, because he then opened up to me like, yeah, it can get really awkward talking to people. I said, well, try with what you're doing with me. And I basically gave him a little mini lesson on, I'm not saying change who you are, but just take a step back in some of these things. And I hope that it has stuck with him. Because many times these people, well, because if they've done big research on it, neurodivergent people, we make up a lot of the content. The biggest thing is we all stick together. Like, we flock together. Like, scientifically, it has been proven we are going to flock together because we understand each other. But not everyone has had the same experiences. So being able to go to these cons, you're able to help teach, because many of these people, they might not have people in their lives who are going to teach them otherwise. And that's not saying the onus is on you, but we can all help each other help themselves. In any event, another panel, which I'm going to be submitting soon, so keep your fingers crossed that I get it into Animazement, is working title, Banging Opening Mid-Anime. And I'm basically just going to do this whole list of like really kick-ass opening themes, but then the anime is not necessarily, but can be perceived as just but to make sure that it's all tongue in cheek and show that I'm not making fun of anyone, but I'll also poke fun at myself. I'm going to put some shows in there that, like, I genuinely do. I'm going to open up with the lowest hanging fruit. I'll just go ahead and give all of you a preview. I'm going to open up with Cruel Angel's Thesis from Neon Genesis Evangelion. I personally feel Ava's kind of overrated. Like, it's a good show, but it's not as groundbreaking crazy as everyone tries to act like. Even the creator has come out and been like, hey, it's not that deep, y'all. I literally just wrote this. So but the thing is, no matter how much you like or dislike Ava, the opening theme is objectively amazing. And then I like Attack on Titan. I genuinely feel it's a neat, really interesting, really unique story, but I can understand how some people might think it's mid. I'm totally going to throw that in there and be like, hey, I'm not making fun of you. I'm poking fun at me too.
I keep hearing good things about Attack on Titan myself. I just haven't seen it yet, because it's certain anime I jive with more, I guess.
It's very good. But one of my real big ones, I'm going to put not one but two themes for Bed and Breakfast for Spirits. Two opening themes are incredible. The anime is so boring you want to cry. Ooh. Like I can't. It's so bad. But on that Prince Charmless, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of misinformation out about that, which has been overly generalized from a good point taken too far. That doesn't defend, but just I hope that helps a little bit. So do genuinely hope that helps. But yeah, so definitely we'll have that. And then again, a couple other shows that I think are good. I'm gonna put the theme from Magical Girl Raising Project in there. I know a lot of people feel it's mid, but I will still say, yeah, I get it, but I like this. Or as I like to call it, Madoka, but better. I said it.
Yep.
But yeah, so basically that one, and one that I literally just thought of while I'm sitting here is I might do one like about Zombieland Saga, the real life locations in Saga, because again, I love this show, and I was just in Japan back in November and was visiting a bunch of the locations which are actually in the anime, and I realized even with my new friends this weekend that some of them like, wait, that's a real location? I'm like, yeah, of course it is. But I know that not everyone's going to go into that big deep dive that I am, so being able to educate that. So that one might be a little bit before, like if we get confirmation of a season 3, I might go into that. So I mean, I could always jump into any Zelda, Splatoon, Nintendo panel, but those would be my big 3, would be like the Why Older Fans Should Still Attend Cons, especially anime cons, Banging Opening Mid-Anime, and the real life Zombieland Saga.
Cool.
Let's see. What about you, Kevin?
Well, I mean, I've never done any panels or anything like that, but if I had to host one, honestly, as much as I'm a big Doctor Who fan, I like other sci-fi shows too. And
Hmm.
honestly, I'd want to do a panel on the show Farscape, just because I feel like, as far as because I feel like not many people really know about this show, or really, and I love this show. And honestly, this show saved me from basically falling out of enjoying sci-fi, because I was in a bit of a slump in terms of enjoying sci-fi when one of my best friends from school introduced it to me, because I mean, even at the time, even the new stuff of Doctor Who wasn't really grabbing me at the time.
Hmm.
And then he was starting to get the DVDs of the show, and he figured I'd watch it because I'm a big fan of anything from the Jim Henson Company. And he's like, and he said, I was like, here, watch next time you come over, watch the first episode with me, and if you're not jiving with it, then you're not jiving with it. But
Yeah.
but from like the moment that Crichton started going through the wormhole and meeting the aliens, I was like, I need to see more. To the point where we would watch an episode like almost every time I came to visit. But eventually I was like, I gotta borrow the DVDs, man. I can't. I need to see what happens next. I can't. You can't leave me like this, man.
Hmm.
And best part is, I think more people are starting to realize more about Farscape because of the fact that James Gunn has gone on record saying that that was one of his primary inspirations for his Guardians of the Galaxy movies.
Oh,
But it's
wow.
still obscure enough that not many people still know about it.
Hmm.
I mean, heck, the lead actor of Farscape, Ben Browder, cameoed in Guardians 2.
That's wild.
Yeah, in fact, and the reason for that is because they were both at the Saturn Awards for the time that Guardians won, the first Guardians movie won like best film or something, or he won best director for Guardians 1 or something like that. And Ben Browder happened to be hosting the awards at that time, and they were backstage talking and stuff. And apparently, this might be apocryphal, but from what I've heard, the conversation started with James saying to Ben, "Hey, I liked your Ben Browder. Hey, I liked your show." And Ben Browder, smiling at him, said, "Yeah, I could tell by your movie."
Hmm.
So there you go.
All right.
But so I would love to do a panel very much on like how Farscape really is such an important sci-fi show
Okay.
for not only for the time but just in general.
Sounds good. Okay.
I mean, as much as I love Doctor Who, Farscape saved me from burning out on sci-fi,
That's good to hear.
and that so so and I've only kind of semi met one of the actors from the show, Gigi Edgley, who plays Chiana. She used to do like Zoom calls at the height of COVID for with fans, and I'd
Hmm.
sit in on a few of those, and she was such a delight.
Nice.
And sometimes her young daughter would come in and kind of crash the calls a bit, like hi, and she's so adorable. Her daughter is so adorable. I think her daughter's like 5 or 6 now, but still.
Mhm.
So,
But yeah, that
but
was
yeah,
during COVID.
yeah. So when COVID's, in fact, the last panel, the last one of those she did was like the day after my mom passed, and that kind of saved me from spiraling into a deep depression. So I never told her, but I will, if I ever get to meet her in person, I will tell her, saying thank you for doing those Zoom calls, especially that last one, because my mom passed the day before that we did that last one, and it saved me my life, frankly.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry about your
Actually,
mom.
if you want to if you're an advocate of physical media, Prince Charmless, Shout Factory has a special Blu-ray release of Farscape. That's a 30th anniversary thing. That's like the entire series, including Peacekeeper Wars, the miniseries that wraps up the show. I mean, the so that it I don't know what streaming services Farscape is on, but if you're big into physical media, you can get. I'd recommend getting those Blu-rays because I have them and it's excellent.
Hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So Shout Factory.
yeah, Shell Factory. They have some good videos.
Yeah, I've gotten a lot of their Blu-rays as of late. I recently got their Blu-rays of a lot of Leica's movies because I hadn't seen them yet and I wanted to see them. So,
Okay.
but yeah,
But yeah, I'm sorry about your mom.
yeah. Thank you. She passed some time ago, and I've made my peace, but I still miss her from time to time.
Yeah.
And so I wish you the best with taking care of your mom as well. So
Thanks. I'm doing my best with that. So Nova asks, what's a memory you've had at a convention that will always be sentimental to you, and why? And which convention was it? Oh, that's a tough one.
Yeah, it's like the earlier one.
I've already mentioned mine, and that's the Kevin Conroy one and the Charles Martinet one. So those are the ones that sit in my heart the most. Especially the Kevin Conroy one, since he's no longer with us.
Yeah, Mantle, I'll let you go with this one.
No, you're fine. I was literally just gonna say it's like this is like reminds me of the previous question, but hard mode.
Yeah.
Gosh. Honestly, what I was mentioning this weekend, like having met those 5 new Zombieland Saga friends, especially the 4 Cosplay and Franz issue this weekend, like that. I know it's fresh and that might change, but it's like genuinely like the fun we had, the vibes that we shared, and just everything this weekend was just amazing. Trying to think there, because
I you know what, I actually just thought of another one that sticks in my mind the most, but if you want me to relay it while you're thinking.
No, sometimes me talking helps me figure it, because the thing is
All
that for me it's not a problem of thinking of one, it's thinking of which one, because I start time and stuff. No, for me, I already mentioned a few of them, but like not to sound cheesy, but anytime I've met one of my closest friends, it genuinely just sticks with me, even if we weren't as close upon that first encounter as we wound up being. It still sticks with me. Like one of my closest friends in this area, I had met her the year before. But fast forward the next year, I'd completed my updated Wolflink fursuit, and I'm sitting outside, like in this semi-quad, and she walks up, dressed up as Anastasia, beautiful ball gown she made herself, and there is this little girl. She's like 3 to 4 years old. She's got a shaved head. She's dressed up as Johnny 2x4 from Ed, Ed and Eddie, and she's got Plank with her. And I'm just sitting there as Wolflink, and I'll just use Nudge as an example. She's just sitting here petting me, just petting the head of my fursuit like this. And I'm just letting this little child do this. And my friend comes up and compliments her. Before she can say too much, the other goes like, I really like your ball gown. It's really pretty. And my friend just like broke in that moment.
Oh,
yeah. And just, because I'm trying to think back of like, it's a different one. Well, I touched on Peter Mayhew real briefly. First time I ever met him at DragonCon was actually not at his table, because the first time he was going to go, he was sick. In many years, he actually had to miss it or be in limited attendance because of his health. I had gone to a panel where he was part of, and I wound up, after I left the panel, I happened to see him walking towards the front of the Marriott, and I kind of followed after him at a distance, let him take his space, though, and happened to catch up with him after that and be like, hey, I was just in your panel. I'm a huge fan of yours, and it was a really amazing experience. And the two of us just sit and chat. Well, I stood, but he sat. We talked for a while, and because I hadn't ever had a chance to get him at his table, I said, "Hey," and we're talking just nice, wholesome, and catch up. And he shares with me some more insight from the panel, and I then say, "Hey, I know you're super busy. I know you're on at your table. Would it be possible to get a picture?" And he's like, no, I thank you, but not right now. And I said, no, I understand completely. The handshake you already gave me meant more than enough. And he goes, well, let's have another then. And he just reaches out his hand and just like real grips hard on. No, he had a lot of rough times near the end, but that was wholesome.
Yeah, I'm sure he did.
But really, like, even with his, and then having, one of my other ones that really sticks to me, though, and not to come back to Zombieland Saga, but again, I've met Rico Fiardo a few times, to the point where the man, he's such a sweetheart and so talented. And he's called me a friend now. It's like, you're sweet. Again, I cosplay Saki from Zombieland Saga, and I was her in her full regular outfit zombie form. And there's this running joke between her and Coltero where he says that they're going to do something, and Saki's like, wait, when are we starting? And he exclaims, it's starting right now. And as soon as he goes right now, Saki says, ah! And there's this great video of us. It's starting right now. And we're just, we did that one version of the video. The next year he was back, I'd improved my cosplay. He was more in a suit. He threw out his sunglasses. And we basically did the ultimate remaster of that video. And the best part, too, Caitlin Glass, Saki's voice, was in the background of it. She didn't look over, and the two of us laugh about it. But later when I caught her, she's like, oh, that's what that was.
That's funny.
But again, I could be here all night with them, but that one with
Yeah.
Rico just means a lot. Any other little exchanges like that I've had, and any time that a voice actor has remembered me, and I
Mhm.
know they're not just saying it, it just knowing that I had
I
it
can think of someone I've met twice that remembered me. So
knowing that I had an impact on them the same way they did me, it just again shows why conventions are so special. But again,
yeah,
ultimately the
uh,
biggest one is just memories in these costumes, getting to be these
yeah,
characters and that making those friends. Just
yeah,
think of the ones I mentioned earlier, and then these little ones with it. Just
yeah,
it's less what the individual moment might be, but what that moment leads to.
yeah. I got three. I just thought of like three stories that are flashing. One of them being a re-meet story, but also story, and two others of people I met. The first one I'll mention is I actually went to when I was in my. This was before we got together with my last girlfriend, when we went to Long Island Doctor Who convention, or LI Who, and I met Paul McGann there, the Eighth Doctor,
Nice.
and I was just on cloud nine, frankly, because I'd been a fan of his even before he was the Doctor. You know, seeing him in Alien 3 and with Nail and I and stuff like that. And so just getting to meet him was just pure joy. And and the photo op we did together, he was just pure grins, and he was so charming and so kind. And and he also complimented. I wasn't cosplaying really, but I was wearing a T-shirt that was like a playing card design of his Doctor on it. Like the top half was like his outfit from the TV movie, and the bottom half was his outfit from the mini episode where he regenerates into John Hurt. You know, and and it's just he was like, "Where did you get that shirt? I want one of those. That's pretty cool." So I had to tell him it was like T Fury or something like that. And then another person was that I met that really meant a lot. Well, oh God, now I'm blanking on that second person, but I remember the meet person. But the person I've met twice, and this was Catherine Tate, Donna Noble. I met her. I had met her at the same convention I met John Barrowman at,
I love
and
Catherine Tate. She's great.
she's a treasure.
I've got to catch her a couple times at
I met
Dragon. She's great.
I had met her, when I was in my previous relationship, and she was very, sweet and kind and stuff like that. And I told her how much I liked her other Doctor Who, non-Doctor Who stuff too, like like particularly her character Nan from the Catherine Tate show, who's this outspoken old woman who
Mhm,
doesn't give a shit about what anyone thinks about what she's what thinks when she and
mhm.
everything like that. And I told her I knew someone like that. I knew someone like that in my life, and and I always think of Nan because of that person. And then fast forward just like a couple of years ago, she was at my local Comic Con, Motor City Comic Con, and I got to see her again. And I upgraded my 10th Doctor cosplay since then, and I also since broken it off with the with that girl. And she said, "I remember you. Good to see you again," and stuff like that. Your outfits, and I'm like, "Yeah, I've upgraded things since then." Like, new and improved. I like it, and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And then she's like, "So how are things going with so and so?" And I'm like, "Oh, we had to break up. Things didn't really work out." And I was trying to be diplomatic about it, but she kind of sensed that, and she's like, and she pats my shoulder, and she's like, "You're probably better off. So
Mm.
you're good. And just like that." And I just remembered the other now story now that I'm talking about that, as this was more just this wasn't really like meeting someone for me. It was like more for my now current girlfriend, Robbie Damon.
He's great. I've met him
Yeah,
too.
I was meeting him on behalf of my current girlfriend who couldn't make it to the convention with me because she's a big Sailor Moon fan. She loves Sailor Moon very much.
Mhm. Oh, same. It's my
And so
second favorite anime.
I went out, I actually decided to get a tuxedo mask picture from his booth for him to
Ooh.
sign for him, because she loved tuxedo mask,
Mhm.
right? But yeah, Robbie, and he's like, so who's this for? I'm like, this is for my girlfriend. She can't make it today, and he's like, oh, okay, what's her name? And I mentioned her name, and she signed it. And not only that, but he was like, but he even wrote, "With love from the man in the mask,
I love that.
wishing you the best, Robbie." And as luck would have it, that was literally the last picture of Tuxedo Mask he had at his his booth.
Oh wow!
So I lucked the fuck out to get that.
Well, especially because with the rules that they've got for those now, like it can't just be like official art; they have to have it from another source from that. But no, I got a Killer T Cell print from him because I cosplay Killer T Cell as well and had fun with that. Now you were mentioning Sailor Moon is another fun one. So I was at Otakon 2013 when they no wait, no, it was 2014. It was 2014 when they actually, this was shortly into Viz's having acquired the rights to redub the whole series and release the whole series. They previewed episodes 8 and 10. Had never been shown anywhere. And we got to go watch this new dub of these episodes, which introduced Sailor Mercury and Sailor Mars. So we got to go watch that.
That's beautiful.
Brand new with a pair of the voice actors. And it's like, and Robbie was one of them. And it was just like getting to see this preview, that this new dub that I've seen in the Deke dub, but I've seen the original. Like those first time previews you get at cons that you don't get anywhere else.
I know.
That's also magical. So.
Yeah. But he even outright, Robbie even outright told me, like, the fact you're doing this for her means you're a keeper. I hope you know that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, and I'm just like, I'm almost like shrinking.
Yeah.
Like, oh, God.
Well, no, I'm glad because no, this is actually something that, and they're so sweet and accommodating for that. Like, not one of my bigger ones for it, but just to show like just how sweet these personalities and actors are. One of my longest running friends, I met her online. We've met in person since then. She lives in Scotland. She's a huge Breaking Bad fan. Like, I'm talking huge. And Lydia is her favorite character. And because she enjoys the character Lydia, she really appreciates the character Gus Fring, Giancarlo Esposito. And he was actually going to be at an event in the UK, and she'd planned everything to go to it, especially to meet him, and he had to cancel.
Oof.
So what I wound up doing was I saw him at Dragon Con the following year. She didn't know he was going to be there. I got him to do a voice greeting to her, and he refused to let me pay for it and sent it to her. I was in a voice call with her when I sent it to her. Just the high-pitched gasp. So, no, they love to help out even fans who can't be there because they see who you are helping out those who are dear to you.
Well, I mean, she was keen on going, but it's just that my girlfriend was born with mild cerebral palsy, and she can't be on her feet for too much.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, like I said, just those who can't go.
So,
No.
For sure.
Yeah, that's understandable.
Yeah, so I just happened to be going with a group of friends that year, and I said, "I'll get." I just like, "Hey, sweetie, I found out Robbie Damon's going to be there. Do you want his Tuxedo Mask's autograph?" And she's like, "Yes, please. I'll pay you back." And I'm like, "No, you don't have to pay me back, sweetie. It's fine. I'll get it for you anyway."
So I'm gonna look into the future. I feel that one of my most memorable convention moments will be when Shellshock and I get to hang out epically at MagFest.
Oh, absolutely! I'm looking for.
I would love to be there with Belvon as well to hang out with Terry.
I would love to go. It's just a matter of like if I could actually manage to get things the way that I want to.
I'm gonna go ahead and say it, dude.
Take care of your mom.
I know you. It's gonna be a win, not an if.
Yes.
Win might not be as soon as you'd like it, but it's gonna happen. We're gonna manifest.
Yep. And to answer that question, I actually haven't. I mean, the thing is, I already answered my stuff. I don't really need to repeat mine, but I'm gonna go straight to. But I'll just say like when I want the Wii U. I'll just say that. So Ange asks, what are your most favorite convention events, concerts, panels, masquerades, other?
Most of the time, I just like the panels, really, because it allows the celebrities that are sitting there with the fans to be open and candid and such, and also take questions from the audience. Like at that same Doctor Who convention I was at, LI Who, Peter Davison was there, and and I just there was a question I was bursting to ask him, but I was worried it was going to be rude, but I decided to ask it anyway. And he took it in stride. But what I asked him was, well, do you think that the mini episode he did with David Tennant, Time Crash, is funnier now that Tennant is his son-in-law? And to his credit, he had a little bit of a smirk on his face, and he said in the most genteel tone, "You could think so."
Well,
so mostly it's just the panels I really enjoy more than anything. just to see celebrities kind of drop the bravado or the facade and just be down to earth.
That's fair.
Along with the fans.
That's fair.
Yeah.
Mantle?
Yeah.
I'm not actually a huge panel person. Like, I enjoy them. There's some cons where I go to several, and some cons where I don't go to a one. Like, there's sometimes a few year span where I don't go to. But another like good memory, but also like example of that of Kotone Mitsuishi, original Seiyu for Sailor Moon, the Seiyu for Sailor Moon. Like, I've seen her 2 times she's been in Animazement, and her last panel I went to was fucking amazing. Like that, oh, it was so good. But for me, yeah, there's those moments with those voice actors. One of my favorite panels with that was Kotone Mitsuishi's. Another one was a Triad Anime Con, which was in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. They had some of the original Deke dub cast for
That's a deep cut.
So they had Susan Roman, Sailor Jupiter.
Mhm.
They had Linda Ballantyne, who was the newer Sailor Moon in the Cloverway dub. And I want to say this right now. She's an amazing voice actor. Her voice direction was terrible, and she deserves an apology from everyone. She's so sweet. Katie Griffin, so Sailor Mars, and Toby Proctor, the original Tuxedo Mask. All 4 of them were there. They were super sweet. That panel was great. I also won a maniacal laugh contest there. So the voice actors were the judge, and I'm the one who won. So that was
awesome.
That was really fun with that. But yeah, so some of those specific panels are great, like where you get like some of those good voice actors. Like they're all great, but they don't really like oh, it's a great memory, but it's not like oh, top. My honest favorite event that I go to, okay, my favorite convention, like I said, is Animazement and also MagFest for different reasons. But my favorite event at cons is my Splatoon photo shoot meetup. We've actually had a Splatoon meetup at MagFest. We had to celebrate our 10th anniversary. We've been having this since 2016, so when the game was only 6 months old. And the funny thing is, I did not start hosting that. My friend, who was in the Anastasia dress, she had found out about it, and I didn't have my Mantle cosplay ready yet. Pulled something together because I had Splatoon gear on me, and we went. And this was the one year that MagFest was the weekend after Katsu because the Gaylord screwed over the schedule. I have got the worst case of laryngitis. I can still project outside of that, but my two now friends come up, and they're really sweet, but they're really quiet, and they're surprised because there's so many people there. And I go up to them, hey, I know I've got laryngitis right now. This is y'all's photo shoot event, but I've helped run some of these before. Would you like for me to be your megaphone? They go, yes, please. And I immediately turn around. And they instantly like pull me on with that. And the next year we make it happen again. They've since only been able to come to a couple since then, but I've kept that photo shoot going ever since. And it's like equal parts photo shoot and meetup. So I have squids who come there who aren't in their cosplay that day or at all. And they just want to vibe because, again, there's a lot of Splatoon fans. We just can't always find everyone. I also really love my Nintendo photo shoot that I run. The one at Dragon Con's great. The one at MagFest is even better, and I will pridefully say it's the biggest photo shoot every year at MagFest. So the meetup, and there's many meetups I've gone to, whether I host it or not, been great. There's an Amazing Legend of Zelda one at Katsu where the organizer didn't show. I took that over, and I've got 2 super close friends from it now. So if you've seen my Hyrule Warriors Impa with the Hyrule Warriors Zelda and Link with me, those are my 2 friends. They're amazing. But so any of the photo shoot meetups it really comes down to who the organizer is. But if I must say so myself, I'm damn good at recognizing them. So those are fun. Those fun events you get with those individual celebrities are phenomenal.
Agreed.
But really just each con is different with that. And to me, even some of my favorite memories are just vibing with friends, whether out on the con floor or in the room. Yeah. But again, as with the other ones, too many memories to fit in one podcast where all 3 of us have already been able to wax beautifully on these incredible experiences.
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see.
And not so pleasant experiences either.
Mostly pleasant, though.
Let's see.
Mostly positive.
I mean, the main thing that's my favorite more than anything is just socializing with people. That's really it.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
I get it.
And the one other question that Ange asked is thoughts on corporate run conventions. Do you think they can keep the same feeling as the fan runs ones, or they're losing touch? The thing is that it's a double-edged sword
Yeah.
Because, like,
Absolutely.
there's even some fan-run conventions that are not feeling like they're the best of vibes as well.
Sounds peachy. Yeah, I went there.
And honestly, I attribute it to one major issue that took place that kind of changed a lot of cons in general, and that's COVID. COVID pretty much changed it. Like, there were a lot of fan-run cons that were doing great, and then COVID definitely changed it up. However, even before that, for example, I used to love to go to Anime Next, but then in 2016 they moved to a different venue, and then like it kind of priced me out a bit. No hatred towards them. I love everything they do, but it's just I couldn't really justify going. However, that's a difference compared to another convention where, like, let's say you start inviting guests that like are questionable, but then you start inviting guests that are red flags. Hence the fact that, like, as we touched upon earlier, like, when you have problematic guests, that's going to make me not want to go. Like, there were some conventions that do that. Case in point, like it was talking about earlier, I will never go to Anime Matsuri. I will never fucking go to Anime Matsuri. But
yeah, don't.
But at the same time,
No.
if there's a convention that I go and then like I paid for my ticket and I'm just not feeling it, and it's a sunken cost fallacy at that point, like where I feel like I should just go for the rest of the days, but just never go back to the convention afterwards. Then that's how I will handle it. Is like I'll try to it's like making the best out of a bad situation.
Yeah, for sure.
Agreed.
But it's like, okay, I at least gave this con a shot. I wasn't feeling it. I'm just not gonna go again after this.
Yeah, no, there's several like that for me too.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, yeah, there's a lot of corporate conventions that don't have the same feeling as fan conventions, but even some fan conventions are losing their edge. It's a shame, but that's just how things are now. Yeah.
For me, I tend to feel that fan run cons, I like them better. I agree, it's the double-edged sword. I whenever people ask about what Dragon Con is, because everyone and their mother knows what San Diego Comic Con is, I tend to joke around that Dragon Con's San Diego Comic Con but better. And again, no shade for anyone. I know that there's good stuff that comes out. Like, part of why how I'll describe it is San Diego Comic Con's, hey, we're the industry, you're our fans, buy our shit. Whereas Dragon Con's like, hey, we're the industry, you're our fans, let's do shit together. And again, like, that's not hating on Comic Cons. That's not hating on the corporate ones. That's also part of why, like, while I enjoyed PAX South, I prefer MagFest. I would still like to try PAX East someday, but the biggest thing is, like, temper your expectations both for either of those types as well as for the size of cons. And I've gone from like small university to run cons to small, medium, large to Dragon Con, which is its own beast in size. Temper your expectations for each one, and I appreciate different things about each con for that. And I love having that variety. I'm glad they're not all the same.
Variety is the spice of life, as they say.
Yep.
Exactly. But the and I'm the spice head here, but the basic thing with it really is I have that preference, and I feel so bad for some of those cons that did not survive. My home con Animazement thankfully did survive. We survived 2 years. We had to take 2 years off from COVID because we're always Memorial Day weekend. Best thing though, attendance has been going up. We have an attendance cap, by the way, because we're smart. But so attendance has been going up, and here's the cool thing. Attendance is going up, but people will post pictures of the empty hallways and be like, oh, dead con's dying. No, it's not. What's happening is you look at the official numbers and tallies after the event, the numbers are still doing this.
Yeah.
Foot traffic is doing this. Now, sometimes people are like, wait, what do you mean by foot traffic? I mean that, yes, there's more people there, but there's more good events that people want to park their butts at for a while and not be in the way. So there could be like some big, awesome, amazing panel, which is cool and you respect, but that's your chance to go to the vendors hall. So, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah.
What about you, Kevin?
Uh, uh, I honestly, I just in agreement. It is a double-edged sword. Granted, most of my experiences with conventions have been more probably corporate than fan ones because I don't really know about many fan conventions here in Michigan. So, I mean, I'd love to learn more about them. So maybe I can figure, so I can, gauge whether they'd be worth my time. And if I'm able to kind of, bum a ride or something, because I don't really drive, admittedly. But well, yeah. So so I guess I just try to take it on a case by case basis, I suppose.
Okay. All right. So that's all the questions. That's all the community questions. So that means we're done. That's gonna do it for the podcast. And apologies for getting a bit heated earlier when like I needed to vent about like those awful experiences that I had to deal with.
No apologies, friend. Like we appreciate you sharing that because as always on your podcast, I love how real it is. And while conventions are an amazing time, it is important to share, hey, it's not all happy-go-lucky, epic win, perfect, sparkly rainbow fun all the time.
Exactly.
Shit happens at them. And being able to share that, we appreciate you sharing it with us. And it also can help some of us realize, oh, now I'm equipped to handle stuff in the future, even if it hopefully doesn't happen. No, it's that's part of why I love it. Like you
I mean, I learned stuff today.
you moderate an extremely incredible thing, Shellshock, and that's part of why I love being on here. It's not just because I love hanging out with you, even though I do, and it's not because I enjoy to talk when it's something that I'm interested about. It's because it's real. It's because we just dove full deep into stuff we love.
Yeah.
And that includes the good, the bad, the ugly, the chaotic, the hyper, the everything.
Yep.
Yep.
So
we're here for you, same as you are for us.
Exactly. Like, I'm just glad to have you all on. And
I'm glad I got to be here.
I was so excited
kind of
when you mentioned
in joining your podcast for a while,
Yep.
Shellshock, but I just never knew when to really put myself out there for you because sometimes I get a little bit anxious about it.
Yeah, like I mean, I'm just glad that you reached out to ask me. Because like in addition, because like I know like Ange, I know that you wanted to be a part of this podcast, and I hope that you feel better soon. And I feel bad that Corshell was not able to make the podcast tonight. There was another person that originally like was slated to be a part of this podcast, but he couldn't make it. He goes by Mineta. He's been on quite a few times, like more recent, but he was on last week. But yeah. Like like when it comes to people who I just reach out to people who I would like to see like on this podcast, whether they've been on before or for the first time.
Yeah.
So that's all that matters. But
I think you do a great variety with it, for real.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
It seems like you definitely have quite a bit of variety of stuff.
Absolutely.
Well, and Shellshock, like we were talking about during the season finale, like you saw how all of us start geeking out over catching each other again. Like, look at these friendships that you have forged. So, and it's appreciated. Like, I know I don't always get to chat as much on the server as I might like, but I know I'm still here and a part of it and everything. And I love and thrive. Like, you see me and Jeremy go at it all the time. So.
I have.
But no, I think it's fantastic. And like, I feel that even if we'd been able to have our full crew, we might have each hedged it a bit, but we made sure to fill in.
Absolutely.
I was worried I was going to just domineer the whole thing because I tend to ramble like nobody's business.
We believe me, I'm used to it. It happens in this podcast. It happens all the time.
We all do it to some degree. I think the important thing is like we each have a turn at it.
No.
But then not always doing it. And also like if any of us need to jump in, don't take it personal because we're all trying to help each other.
Exactly. All right. So before we sign off, Mantle, where can we find you?
You can find me at twitch.tv/MantleFerox. Again, I've not been doing as many streams, but I'm working on easing back into it. Hopefully we'll get one in this week, but no promises. You can also, on that website, you can find my socials such as Blue Sky as well as Instagram. And again, I am in Shellshock's Discord. Feel free to reach out to me anytime, especially about any of the stuff we were talking about. Yeah, so you can find me there. And as always, great catching all of you. And Shellshock, it is a flippin' honor to be here.
Always. And what about you, Kevin?
I mean, I do have an account on Twitch, but I mostly just do stuff on YouTube, youtube.com/KevinTheTimeGeek86 or Golden Wheels Geek, which was my old handle.
Yeah.
I've rebranded since then, but for personal reasons, I won't get into it here.
Okay.
Drama.
That's
But
fair.
but yeah, so and I mean, you'll see like basically like Let's Play stuff. I mostly do like weekly first impressions videos on Saturdays now, just because I haven't been able to motivate myself to do like another full on Let's Play lately because of just moving house and all sorts of other stuff. But I plan on like at least finishing up this one Let's Play I was doing under my old username of Pokemon Yellow sometime in the future. So stay tuned for that. I
All
mean,
right.
that's why I said on the playlist like episodes will go up when I feel like it. So
All right.
so well, there's a wide variety of different games I've done playthroughs of, mostly Nintendo stuff though.
Sounds good. And you can find me pretty much anywhere within the stratosphere, except for Twitter. I will never go back to Twitter, but
I should probably get myself off Twitter.
yeah, I recommend it. It's good for your stress.
Hey, I keep it because of my Japanese friends, but I hardly post shit there. I have this vain hope that someday it will be restored, and it's like I kept it, but I just browse, but I don't really post much.
Yeah.
But
yeah,
I probably should just private my account and be like, hey, find me on Blue Sky.
I had curated my experience so much that while I know all the shit was going on, it was still manageable. I took a massive break from it for a couple of years. I'm still on a break from actually posting shit, but the Japanese artists still post there, so I like to at least support them where I can, even if it's
pick your battles. I get it.
Exactly. We all know the everything, and here's to things improving in the right sense.
But yeah, I'm on like Blue Sky, Discord, and I also stream on Twitch, and I post my videos on YouTube. Usually stream Monday through Fridays and Sundays, from 7 or 8 p.m. Eastern till midnight. So, in 2 weeks from tonight, will be the next episode sharing with Shellshock, and we're going to talk about the Nintendo 3DS.
Yes.
Because the console will be turning 15 soon. So
how did that happen?
I have my Super Nintendo 3DS right here, actually, that my last girlfriend gave me.
Like time practically happened. Joining me for that will be Silverstone Condor, MMG Mike.
Yes.
Korsha will be in that episode, and and my friend Rydia, she'll be on that as well. It'll be her first time on the show. I'm looking forward to having everybody on.
That'll be a good crew.
Glad I got to be here.
Absolutely.
I'll be on another one of these days.
We'll see. Like it's just a matter of just a matter of time, and also the topic as well.
Exactly.
Alrighty. Once again, Mantle, Kevin, thank you so much for being a part of this. I appreciate it. Mantle, I definitely want to talk to you about something like at the end, but but in the meantime, I appreciate both of you guys coming in. So
no problem.
Thanks as always for tuning in. Make sure to take care of yourselves. Be awesome. Stay awesome. Tell your lovers you love them. Check with them as always. Find for your lasting peace, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, be kind, rewind. Good night, everybody.